lines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning, and the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. World's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my name. Fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth is harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. American fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
What it do, everybody? Happy Friday. Holy smokes. What a show I've got for you guys today. Wow. You know, I do a lot of these shows, 5 a week at the minimum. You guys know it. You guys watch them. But I got to tell you, a lot of times it's like, I know what I'm going to talk about. I got one big story, going to tie in the other stuff, watching what's going on. Some days I don't even know. I'm kind of figuring it out. And then there's days like today when there is so much to talk about all at once. It's like, wow, where do I even start? So we have a massive show today. We have the whole Iran thing, which is just wild. Who knows what's going on? It's we're going to break it down to the best of our ability, but the deal is closer than ever. That has even been confirmed by Iran. However, there's a lot of psyops going on around it. So we're going to break down what's going on with Iran, and are we finally at the end here, plus some really interesting coincidences on the timing of it all. We'll talk about that. Then Tulsi Gabbard today dropped Bombshell, declassified. It is starting. She's starting to release the files about biolabs funded by us across the world. That has got the deep state in a tizzy. They don't know what to do. And this just happened about an hour and a half ago. More are coming out throughout the day. Plus, Trump has nominated his official ODNI replacement that, once confirmed, will come in, but Pulte is still going to be acting. So a lot to talk about there. Who is this guy, and did Trump set up Pulte to be the guy who scares the deep state so he could actually get the real one he wants? We're going to talk about that as well. And then, man, I got a grifter report for you guys today. It is a massive grifter report, one of the biggest I've done in a while. The New York Times released a fake news article about Trump, Charlie Kirk, and Epstein, and the grifter sphere is jumping all over it. So we got to cover that. Oh, and there's so much. There's midterms updates and all kinds of stuff. So what a freaking... Oh, yeah, and SpaceX. How about that? We got SpaceX coming out, IPO today, launching. It's been halted all morning. I don't know if it's been trading now, but I got one share. Thank you, Katie Cat. It's all to you. All thanks to you. I got in my one share, and I appreciate that. They were gracious to give me one. And but it's barely even trading so far. It's been halted all morning, but I did hear it might start trading at 165, 175. So already in the green, and it's the largest IPO in history. In fact, I heard that it might have more money behind it, more retail bought in, more institutional buy-in than every other American IPO since 2000 combined. Wow. Elon Musk, you did it, man. First trillionaire. So crazy stuff. And what do you think, guys? Do we believe in coincidences? All of this happening at the same time? No, we do not. There are no coincidences, because one way or the other, it's either people coordinating it or it's divine. And I believe that my entire life, and I will never stop believing that. So timing matters, and something is heating up heading into the weekend. That is for sure. So strap in. Got a long, beautiful ride ahead of us. So much to get to. But before we do, hit that like, hit that subscribe, guys. Appreciate you watching and supporting the channel. Hit the hype button if you got it. Not everybody gets it for some reason, but hit it if you do. And let me get into the chat, say hey to some of the beautiful people, and then we'll get running. All right, we have Beef Rock'n'More first today. Welcome, sir. I also believe that's the first time I've ever seen you chat, so well done. We got the Great Shift, Nick Majors, Jay Tyrus, Christina, Aiden Scotland, Rafe, Gen X MAGA. You know, Scotland, I was watching So I Married an Axe Murderer last night with my daughter, and just the Scottish dad that Mike Myers plays in that movie is all-timer. He'd move now. That's a gargantuan melon. Just the absolute best. So Scotland, Aiden Scotland. You made me think of that. Rafe, Jen, Cassink, Justamimo, Smokehouse, MG Bartanas, Shogun, Alice Ford and Bobby's in the house, Ramona, Nick Majors, Tia Dye, LED, Katie Cat, Rum Dog, one of the many, and Saved by Grace, K. Shuey, Henry Perez, Jeff Jingles, Jay Gomez, The One, What to Do, Lisa Doxy, Howard Garden, Linda Telly. How are you doing, friend? Linda Goya, and so many more. Thank you guys for watching here on YouTube. And on Rumble, we got Sheath, Aloha Patriots, SoCali, Q Alerts, Maui Jimbo, and that's it. Holding it down over there on Rumble. Thank you guys for your attention to this matter. For everybody watch on X, I love you. I appreciate you, but I can't see who you are because Elon is too busy with SpaceX. He hasn't fixed the live streaming here from the platform I'm on. I can't see all that. So Kevin Hoffman, oh man, I won't forget you, brother, with $100 super chat to start the Friday. My God, my friend, that is amazing. I greatly appreciate you and your support. You've been so generous lately. That's amazing. And I definitely don't forget you, my brother. Thank you so much. And as always, guys, super chats guaranteed to be read. And for everything else, if you want to get my attention, I stop in between the segments to read the chat, to answer questions, but please tag me so I see it. I don't want to miss it. but sometimes the chat goes too fast. The tags help, and the super chats are guaranteed. And it also supports the channel. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So thank you guys. No trolls in the chat. Mods will do their job. I got my DEI hire Shogun doing a good job. You know, he's Asian accountant, so he's very attentive to detail and does a great job. So Shogun, I'm looking at you, brother. But we also got Mike Mishler, Katie Cat, Nick Majors running the mods today. So thank you guys, and any other mods, just give a shout out. They are in blue, and they will get you if you're being a jerk. All right. Whew, what an intro. I know. People are like, get to it. Okay, fine. I heard you, all right? I'll get to it. Jeez Louise. Everybody's like, it's all the SpaceX people now going nuts in the chat. Oh my God, Shogun. All the trading advice on the SpaceX. I love it. Kevin, man, you're getting a lot of love for the support. You're awesome, brother. Again, thank you so much. Okay, are you guys ready? Oops. Here we go. Back to the original. So real quick, as I'm getting started, I just wanted to thank everybody for being patient yesterday as I was doing the different setup, because I had Rich on yesterday. I got overwhelmingly good feedback about having Rich on. People were so good, gracious, and Rich was amazing. I was so blessed to have him for an hour yesterday. I thought, I get a lot of people who are like, what's up with the City of London stuff? Explain it to me. And I'm like, I can't explain it every episode, man. We've talked about so much. But if you are one of those people and you're like, when we talk about this, I don't quite understand, listen to yesterday's show. The interview with Rich, we get deep into City of London, understanding it. Rich is in the UK, so he has some really great insights into that. And so we broke it down. It was just a great interview. So I was really glad to have Rich on. And thank you for everybody who reached out to tell me it was a good show and you enjoyed Rich. And so he's awesome. And it was just a blessing to have him. Okay, so where are we at? Obviously, last night, in fact, yesterday, while I was doing my live show, we got the bombshell news. Trump announced an actual deal with Iran. Ha ha! Not that we've never heard that before, right? Am I right? Of course we've heard that before, but this time was a little different. And why? Because we just unleashed hell upon them. We took out all their defenses. They rebuilt their Timu missiles. We're going to be like, pew, 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 stop America, pew, pew. And it doesn't work. We shoot on their missiles. We shoot down their drones. And, it just keeps happening. But last night, the day before, I should say, we eradicated everything they built back up defensive-wise. So just took it all out, and Trump was threatening a much bigger boom coming. It was our largest strikes on them since the original strikes back in early March. And then they capitulated. We got the call. Trump came out, said, guys, we are in this deal now. I will hold off on tonight. Let's knock this out. And Trump basically strong-armed them to the table. The question is, will it last? Now, we're already getting all kinds of psyops from Iranian sources saying, oh, here's the actual deal, and it looks terrible. It's nothing what we'd want. Nothing that would make this whole thing worth it. It's all pro-Iran stuff. But the thing is interesting is like nobody's saying there isn't a deal. Trump came out this morning because all the news sources were running it. I'm looking at you, Mark Halperin, who's like, it cracks me up. These people, like Democrats and the neocons and people like, moderate journalists like Mark Halperin are out there saying, this the Obama deal, it's basically the same thing. And we're just going back for the Obama deal. We can't do that, dude. That is such a stupid thing to say. Even if Trump did something similar to Obama, which he won't because he's never going to send pallets of cash over, it's massively different because Trump actually took out their military first, bombed the snot out of them, buried their uranium under a mountain. And so no matter what, like we come out of this different. But that's the narrative they're running with right now. All morning long. That's what everybody was saying. Well, Trump came out to put an end to that. So the terms Iran leaked to the fake news have nothing to do with the terms that were agreed to, and he adds in writing. That's the difference. We've never seen that before. What they said, including their weak and pathetic statement on having deal, bears no relation to the truth. Very dishonorable people to deal with. With them, there's no such thing as dealing with in good faith. Now, that is very interesting. Trump is admitting you can't trust the Iranians. There's no such thing as dealing in good faith. Amazing. Also, their totally rebuffed drone attack last night against Indian ships leaving the Hormuz Strait is totally unacceptable. They better get their act together and fast. So he's throwing out a threat to them while also saying we do have something in writing. So let's see how this goes along. Now, J.D. Vance, who's very close to the negotiating team, which is Witkoff and Kushner and Rubio, says, I'm seeing a lot of fake information about potential deal to reopen the strait and end Iran's nuclear weapons program. First, Iranians are not receiving any cash, and no funds are being released for simply signing a deal or attending a meeting. Deal is structured to ensure U.S. and its allies' concerns are prioritized, and if the Islamic Republic of Iran meets its obligations, economic benefits will flow to them and to the entire region. So it's a show me. It's a show me deal. Show me and we release some stuff. This deal has the potential to remake the region and lead to lasting peace. I've noticed a couple of bizarre things in reporting over the last few hours. First, people who rightly said Trump was a historic president a month ago now criticizing a deal based on unconfirmed media reports. And that is the thing. Like these same people who are saying, oh, the Obama deal, why do you break that? We already had this deal. Well, they're the same people saying you can't trust the Iranians. So who's to say that they could have trusted the Iranians in that deal? It's so stupid. They just want to like this circular logic. They can't put their foot down on anything. It's only Obama good, Trump bad. That's what it all comes down to. Second, people who say you can't trust a word said by the IRGC apparently believe anonymously sourced social media posts. The same people saying you can't trust their word believe their media posts. President's going to get us a good outcome one way or the other. Again, we can't lose. We have three ways out of this. We bomb the snot out of them till they're done. The Iranian people overturn their government while we got the economic sanctions, blockades on them, and we're bleeding them dry, or we get a deal. It's win-win-win, any way you look at it. Now, the actual deal coming out is White House official says Iran has agreed to this performance-based deal. According to the official, Iran's nuclear material would be destroyed and removed, nuclear program dismantled, and none of its money released until it fulfills its commitments. But they will open the strait right away, and Iran has to stop funding terrorists. So that's where we're at officially. Now, something definitely is happening. And the reason it's happening is because we are moving off to Europe. Now, 4 U.S. Air Force C-17s departed for Europe ahead of possible U.S.-Iran deal with J.D. Vance. The fact we're sending J.D. over there tells me there is something real here. This isn't just people lying. This isn't just Trump manipulating markets, messing around. There is legitimate traction this time. And to me, it's because I think after they rebuilt during the ceasefire, they were maybe feeling themselves a little bit, thinking like this political pressure is going to hit Trump. But what did he do in the last couple of days? We had that Apache go down. We bombed the snot out of them 2 nights in a row. And then Trump also announced that the strait's been effectively open. We have been shuttling through hundreds of millions of barrels of oil, just getting it through, which is keeping oil prices down. As long as those oil prices kept going down, they have no leverage, not even politically. And that changed the game. All of a sudden, Iran, I think, is finally realizing, like, we don't have an out here. The other interesting part is Israel's been doing some attacks. And there is some unconfirmed reports, I want to say unconfirmed, that several IRGC leaders have been being picked off the last few days. Have we been knocking back the IRGC so that this other group can come forward and finally be the ones in charge? I don't know. And honestly, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if this all falls through again, because we don't trust Iran, right? We don't. But the fact that we're closer than ever that's a fact at this point. It says Trump vows to strike hard and take Karg Island if they don't do this. So here's a little clip real quick from Fox breaking it down.
The powerful strikes in Iran. Meanwhile, tensions are still ramping up in the Strait of Hormuz overnight. Let's go to Max Gordon. He's joining us from Dubai and the UAE with more. Hey, Max.
Hey, good morning, Lawrence. U.S. forces reported shooting down 2 Iranian attack drones that were attempting to strike commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. This after President Trump canceled strikes on Iran last night. President Trump posting on Truth Social, based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. President Trump also says that a memorandum of understanding between the United States and Iran could be signed in the next couple of days. Take a listen.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. Probably have a signing maybe in Europe, and it's a great thing. Oil will start coming down to, I think, even lower than it was before. And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
We're now learning more about what might be in a memorandum of understanding between Iran and the U.S. According to Iranian state media, the 14-page draft includes U.S. commitments to lift sanctions on Iran, withdraw troops, and release frozen Iranian funds. But
all right. So with all this going on, the thought is, how can we trust them, even if we sign a deal? I totally get that. I absolutely get that. And we can't. Okay, let's just be honest about that. But here's the reason a deal is important, especially because Trump's bringing in all those other countries, and he listed them: Israel, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. Go on down the line, 11 plus countries, Egypt, Pakistan. You get all those to sign on it, and now you have leverage over the entire region. Because if they don't play along and they let Iran get away with stuff, all of a sudden we can sanction them and we have legal standing to do so. This is why a deal matters, especially bringing in all those other countries. They all get to play a part in holding Iran accountable. And that's what the deal structures. That's what it sets up, that we basically create an allied front against Iran. And if Iran agrees to it, then if they break the deal, now you get legally justified sanctions, attacks, whatever it is, depending on what they do and how they break it. It does lock them in when they sign on this line. And so that's why it matters whether we trust them or not, especially, again, bringing in those other nations matters. Now, even Iran is coming out and saying an agreement has never been closer. This is the first time we've ever seen this. And I want to I got to keep stressing this, guys. We have done this game. I admit that. It's been back and forth, deal on, no deal, deal or no deal, over and over again. I totally get that. And because guess what? Guess who talks about it and reports on it more than most other people? Me. So of course I understand that. But this is new. We've never seen this before. The Iranians saying it. And they even said, this is an official statement versus the anonymous ones coming out. Until it's finalized, the media should avoid speculation. So again, even they're calling out the media. Now, in all this, the leverage they don't have is because of things like this. So the gas prices never even reached levels in 21 and 22, and they're already declining. This is a big deal. Trump's secret mission with the military, with Hegseth, to get all those carriers through with 100 million plus barrels of oil, basically is one of the most genius things he pulled off in this whole operation. Because I can't tell you how often, first of all, we had all the people coming out and saying, oil's going to go to 130, 150. Alex Jones, right? We go to war with Iran, oil's going to be stuck at 130, 110. All guaranteed. It's going to spike. It's going to crush the economy. None of that happened. People are mad, and that's about it. That's about it. And it's because it's only been elevated for a couple months here that we can withstand that. But people could not figure out why. And here's what I always try to, this is one reason why the prognosticators are always wrong, especially the doomers, because doomers assume everything is always going to remain static. The same situation, the same foundation, nothing will change. People don't adjust. That's the assumption. That's why I don't ever do them, because I believe in humanity and the ability of people and leadership in countries to adjust, to make changes, and to do things that we don't expect. That's the thing. There's always X factors, always, that cannot be predicted. In this case, we had the X factors with the oil, where everybody was dooming about how high it'd spike. We had the X factors of Trump pulling off this secret mission behind the scenes of escorting all this oil through the strait, while, right through Iran's attempts to stop it. We had that happening. Plus we had all the countries there adjusting, sending more oil through pipelines, finding other ways to get their oil out. When you take all that together, you have oil already coming down. And guess what, guys? At this point, the strait still isn't officially open. We are still blockading the strait, and oil still continues to go down. They don't have leverage, and all the doomers just look like morons now. Now, the Democrats are not happy about this. Here's Jessica Tarloff getting pushed on this because, listen, they know that if this ends well, and again, it's a big if, but it might happen. They know if this ends well, they are screwed in the midterms, because oil goes down, prices go down, inflation suddenly corrects, and they now don't have that economic thing. Plus, Trump gets a major win in Iran, a better deal than Obama, no nukes, stabilization in the Middle East. I mean, there's no denying it. This is massive. So here's Jessica Tarloff on the on the 5 last night, getting questioned by Greg about being excited as an American for a big win.
All right, Tulsi, will you say thank you after this is over and you get a deal and you get the uranium? Would you say thank you?
To who?
To the president and Pete Hegseth? If you annihilate most of their military and get the dust, will you say thank you?
All right.
You won't say thank you?
Wow.
That's dishonest.
Like,
I guess we know what side she's on, America.
Yeah. Hey, Ron Tarloff.
Like,
all right.
Low
Coming up
Tallarica.
next, Jazzy's back.
Hey, Ron Tarloff. I know you guys can't stand her, but you got to laugh, right? It's worth the laugh. It was worth the laugh to just breaking her down. Now, and it's true. They don't want America to win. They want to win. The deep staters controlled, City of London controlled people, they don't like our country. They only care about power. This is what's so different about the old days. If all this happens, could you admit it was a good thing? No, because this is who the Democrats are these days, folks. This is who they are. Now, this is very interesting here. And I'm sorry, I know some of you guys don't like the conspiracy stuff, but I got to tell you, sometimes things are just too crazy. Today, or that was yesterday, June 11, 26, President Trump announces the Iran war is over and the official signing may take place in Europe. Well, exactly 8 years ago, we got a Q post that says, EU sanctions Iran. Leaders of EU only care about protecting flow of money, not the safety and security of their people world. What? Are you telling me that NATO and City of London, EU, don't want to be a part of this Iran war? Well, they did stay out. Pretty crazy. Iran deal orchestrated for the sole purpose of lifting sanctions, blockade. That's exactly what we're talking about. Allow access of foreign businesses for individuals in co-wide enrichment scam. Nothing to do with nukes. Hussein pallets of cats. Hussein secret authority to convert USD. More coming. No MSM coverage. Got popcorn. That is a wild delta. Exactly 8 years ago to the day, talking about Iran and the flow of oil, the flow of the straits. And that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So you guys do with that what you want, but the timing is very interesting that Trump would set all this up, bomb them, and then announce this deal on the 8th. I mean, I'm sorry. This is why I watch this stuff. It's fascinating to watch. Now, along with us ending this conflict, along with, all the talk about hitting Cuba on the way back, Trump is continually making us have less of a presence in NATO and the EU. Speaking of EU, look at this. U.S., this is from early this morning, to slash military assets in Europe. The Trump administration has told NATO allies fighter jets are going down 150 to 133% drawdown. That's massive. Maritime collection aircraft from 26 to 15. That's 40%. All aerial refuelers withdrawn. An attack submarine, aircraft carrier warships, and 2 bomber squadrons will also leave. We're pulling out of NATO slowly but surely, little bit at a time. Guys, this is, and I've said it many times, I do believe that Iran is going to be the key to getting this long-lasting peace and putting City of London, EU, globalist Davos in their place and setting the stage for us to finally break free of them, at least from these entanglements militarily, which is hurting them financially massively and leaves them more vulnerable militarily, because we've been that. But this is a massive, massive slap to the face saying, we don't care. You don't need us. By the way, while he's doing this, this is also the same week where Germany, UK, France all came together to Ukraine to basically re-empower Ukraine, to be like, we're behind you. We're going into Russia. They allowed Ukraine strikes to be carried out from over other borders, tempting Putin, trying to get him to go into a NATO country so that they could invoke Article 5. See, they're trying to ramp stuff up because they know they're losing Iran. They're trying to ramp stuff up between Ukraine and Russia because they're getting desperate. And so what does Trump do? He withdraws 30 to 40% of what we have over there in NATO. That, my friends, is a signal. The timing is on purpose. There are no coincidences. Speaking of all this is a great little breakdown post of what we could be looking at. So this post is called Trump's Trafalgar Moment. It says Trump's Iran deal is best understood through the lens of Trafalgar, a decisive victory that does not end every conflict, but closes the enemy's best route to success and reshapes the strategic landscape. By reopening Strait of Hormuz, blocking Tehran's path to a nuclear weapon, cutting off financial backing of global terrorism, Trump has broken Iran's core leverage without a wider ground war. And I'll also say City of London's core leverage in the Middle East, and just possibly mostly abroad, because Iran was the destabilizer. It was their way of controlling shipping and oil. So, but that's a different angle a lot of people aren't seeing. Closure and reopening of the strait has changed the rules of the great game in energy security, 100%, putting the U.S. back at the center of global energy markets. Investors should expect critics to pan the agreement as insufficiently decisive, but they should ignore the pedantry. The rules of the game have changed and the forces for complete victory have been set in motion. Man, it's almost like these people are watching my videos for the last 3 months. This is exactly what I've been saying. Exactly. Nelson's victory at Trafalgar did not end every battle, but it closed off Napoleon's best route to victory and set the course of the war. End of Cold War did not abolish conflict, delivered a peace dividend that reshaped economies. Trump's deal with Iran stands in that line. Decisive strategic win with far-reaching economic and market consequences. Critics were not satisfied when Maduro fell, and they won't be satisfied now, but history will be. Capital will be too. Capital already is. Look at the markets today and oil. Because a peace dividend akin to the one that followed the end of the Cold War will not be ignored. It's an excellent breakdown, and I completely agree with that. And then with all this going on, White House is pushing this out. America maxing patriotic summer. He's got his Gulf of America hat on. They are signaling to us, guys. Do they look worried? No. This is coming together one way or the other. I'm fascinated to see how this weekend goes. Trump showed what everybody thought he wasn't going to do, which was strike again. He struck decisively. Iran rushed to the table. We're actually finally getting Iran saying maybe this will happen. Trump brings in all these other nations. To me, guys, it looks like this was all set up, and Trump was just waiting for the right moment to pull it off. We'll see. I could be wrong. I could be even wrong on the timing. Maybe there's more to play here. But if they come out of Europe with a signed deal this weekend, that, my friends, is massive. And it's going to shape things, accelerate things starting next week, because all of a sudden the markets are going to go nuts, and the world, what Trump can do here domestically will significantly shift. And then we get the dominoes of Cuba, which will be easy, and so on and so forth. And we'll just see where it goes. But watching this weekend is very important. Very important to see where this goes. But I got to say that I think, to me, this looks more and more like they have it all together. Remember, Trump said something else he hadn't said before. With the deal, we've heard that before. But the words he used, we haven't heard. And that is, he specifically stated the Iran war is over. He's never made that statement before. So we'll see if it holds up. If it does, it's going to be huge. All right, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We got so much more coming up. Next, we're going to get into Tulsi Gabbard's bombshell on the biolabs that we were funding and what that means, plus what it looks like with Trump's new pick for ODNI and what this might mean looking forward. But first, let me get into the chat, catch up with you guys, and let's see. I did get another super chat. Big Chungus says Tucker will have Plattner on his show Market. We're going to get into Tucker and Plattner, so don't you worry about that. But I'm sure I'm sure it's coming soon. I really do. Let's see here. WTI is now at 84. Wow. Is it just crashing? That's huge. That means oil prices could get down to like 325 here in the next week. Look at that. Wow. Just plummeting. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Oh yeah, this weekend's also Trump's 80th birthday. I forgot to mention that. That's not significant, right? His 80th birthday, the massive UFC fight. That's going to be amazing. Can't wait to see that. Flag Day too. Trump's birthday is Flag Day. So that matters. Let's see here. Had a couple people send gifts as well. Thank you guys for that. Thank you for the what was it? It was a soccer trophy, World Cup, and a flow state. Thank you guys thank you, Soar, for those. I love it. That's awesome. Good stuff. Oh, we got a troll out. Oh, sorry, troll. Sorry, troll. Oh, just saying dumb stuff. Oh, I love bringing the trolls in. I love it, as it means I'm over the target. It's so good. Let's see. XRP Alchemy says Donald has the greatest, biggest, beautiful brazen brass balls ever. That's hilarious. I love it. Let's see here. Micah says senators stole our money again too, giving Ukraine billions. Did Senate pass Ukraine money? Did they pass it with enough to overcome a veto? That's the question. All right. Anything else right now? Oh, thank you, LED. I appreciate that. She says it's the best news channel ever. So refreshing to see a positive, optimistic view of current events. I appreciate that, Ellie. I really do. Lisa Couture asks, what is my feeling or perspective on Q-Drop leaving Israel for last? Oh, man. I don't know, honestly. I think it's very interesting that we've had so much exposure and attack on Israel the last few years, especially the last year and a half, 2 years. I think it's very possible that Israel is being set free from the deep state as well. I think that's actually very possible, because a lot of the things that people say is Israel is actually Mossad actions and deep state actors using Israel. Remember, Israel was created by UK. It's created by City of London. So they were a proxy. And I think one of the reasons Trump has stayed close to Israel is because he knows there are people within Israel trying to break free of that. And I think Trump's doing that. Interestingly enough, this war is brought Bibi's chances of continuing from about 57% of being reelected down to 35%. And now Bibi's talking about stepping down from politics altogether after this term. So there is a shift coming in Israel's leadership as well. And so I think it might have something to do with that. We got Martme with the $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Canadian dollars. Says, I've seen some people do mental gymnastics claiming Trump ended the war because of the SpaceX IPO. SpaceX IPO'd and Trump war? That's interesting. I will say, I mean, it is interesting timing, isn't it? It's very interesting timing. But I don't know if there's actual... I don't know if there's anything completely tied to that, but I have a really interesting post I'm going to share with you guys later about all the stuff going on today and yesterday this week and like the timing on it. So we're going to get to that soon. The DC cleanup has been amazing. Trolls are good for the algorithm and entertainment. They are. And I also get a big thrill out of seeing them banned. It just makes me so happy. Energizes me. Okay. Really appreciate the cleaned channel. The cleaned channel? What's the cleaned channel? I don't know what that one is. Grit says, I've been saying this Iran conflict's way bigger than most people realized. Yes, absolutely. And thank you for the compliment. Listen, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but going back to this post right here, everybody who's been watching me since March when this happened knows that I've been saying, I think Iran is the key to so much. I mean, look at it. Our energy has blown up, like our energy exporting. We've eliminated the Strait of Hormuz as a must-have flowing, for oil prices. It's still important, but we've broken up OPEC. We've exposed NATO. We've taken away we've changed the shipping insurance and the whole cabal of shipping and oil in the area, the manipulation. I mean, so much has changed. And if Iran gets tampered down, they won't be able to use the nuclear threat anymore to destabilize the Middle East, to scare everybody. To keep pulling us into war. They won't be able to keep funding terrorists. It changes everything. It really does. So it is. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. Trump will veto it and we'll be done with the Ukraine war. Yeah, I think so. I don't think he'll allow money to go directly to Ukraine. Lisa says, I'm the only one to pronounce your last name correctly. Well, that's good. That's great. Okay. Anything else here? Yeah, look who doesn't support us. That's absolutely right. Okay. Let's get into Tulsi. This morning, we got this massive bombshell from Tulsi, and she's finally doing what we've heard might be coming. Tulsi is free. She's leaving the office of ODNI to take care of her husband. There's been a lot of speculation on why she's really leaving. That's been put out there for a while. And I'll tell you what, if she wasn't on our side, we wouldn't be getting these drops. If she was deep state, she wouldn't be dropping stuff like this. This morning, she finally gave us some of the beginnings of what we hope is much more to come in the next couple weeks as she makes her way out. But listen to what Tulsi has got for us this morning.
After months of searching through intelligence community holdings and files, today I'm releasing new evidence of long-standing U.S. government funding of more than 120 biolabs in over 30 countries. Now, these biolabs include labs in places like Ukraine, which could be at risk of compromise due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, the intelligence community had previously warned that a U.S.-funded biolab in...
Hold on, real quick. Let's go back to that. This is exactly what many people said Russia went into Ukraine for.
Biolabs in over 30 countries. Now, these biolabs include labs in places like Ukraine.
She specifically mentions Ukraine. Interesting.
which could be at risk of compromise due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, the intelligence community had previously warned that a U.S.-funded biolab in Ukraine likely housed dangerous pathogens and remained vulnerable to long-standing threats of Russian attack, seizure, or damage. Now, until now, evidence regarding the full existence and funding of these laboratories had been knowingly withheld from you, the American people. Many of these U.S. government-funded biolabs are currently or have previously engaged in research using hazardous and highly contagious pathogens, and in some cases included dangerous gain-of-function research with very little visibility or oversight. Now, President Trump clearly understands the serious threat dangerous gain-of-function research poses to the American people. And this is why he took decisive action over a year ago. On May 25th, 2025, he signed an executive order to end federal funding of gain-of-function research around the world. Here at ODNI, I issued new guidance to the intelligence community directing increased collection on these laboratories and facilities overseas. And we're already seeing the results of this increased collection. We're learning new details, for example, on clinical trials that are underway at these facilities and that are raising significant ethical, financial, and security concerns regarding the supposed public health initiatives and U.S. national security. Now, despite the obvious potential for catastrophic global impact that research on dangerous pathogens in biolabs can have, politicians and so-called health professionals like Dr. Fauci, as well as entities within the Biden administration's national security team, lied repeatedly to the American people about the existence of U.S.-funded and supported biolabs.
Wow.
Not only did they lie, they threatened those who attempted to expose the truth. So this release today breaks new ground, as the information surrounding the existence, history, locations, and funding of these U.S.-funded biolabs has been intentionally covered up by very powerful people who falsely claimed that these biolabs didn't exist. Now, they accused anyone who says otherwise to be foreign assets and traitors to America. Now, ODNI will continue working closely with partners across the U.S. government to identify exactly where these labs are and what pathogens they contain to end dangerous gain-of-function research that threatens the health and well-being of the American people and people around the world.
Holy smokes. My friends, that is a shot across the bow. Naming Ukraine, this is ODNI, right? National Intelligence. Very, very specific on and target about who she names. And the specific names we get, Ukraine and Fauci, that's not an accident. That's where they want us focused. All of this happening right now as we're about to sign a deal with Iran, as the EU is trying to keep Ukraine in the fight with Russia. Holy smokes. The day this House passed more money for Ukraine, it's still being debated in the Senate. All of this happening as we're thinking about this makes it like almost impossible for them to justify sending more money to Ukraine. It's wild. So let's look at some of the things, like a couple good breakdowns here. This declassified intelligence analysis released under Gabbard examines concerns with cooperative threat reduction, biological threat reduction programs supported laboratories in Ukraine. Now, back in 2022, when Trump was out of office and Putin went into Ukraine, many people speculated that Putin, with Trump out of office, was doing what it took to prevent World War III, to prevent an outbreak that the City of London, EU, globalists wanted to send out from Ukraine. For those who don't know, Ukraine, even the New York Times in 2019 called Ukraine the most corrupt nation on earth. Since 2014, when it was when Obama and Biden ran a color revolution in Ukraine to take it over for the deep state, it has been used for trafficking, money laundering, and biolabs, among other things. And now the biolabs is 100% confirmed. This is Massive. And it does give Russia much more validation for going in. This focuses on the Institute of Experimental and Clinical Vet Medicine in Kharkiv, noting the facility likely holds dangerous pathogens. Conducted research on diagnostics and vaccines had documented biosafety deficiencies as recently as 2019 and maintains historical connections to Soviet bio-warfare efforts. You guys wonder where the real Soviet Union hid? The real, or what's left of it, the real Nazis, which we already know, they're all in Ukraine. The report states the lab was ordered to destroy pathogen holdings after Russia's invasion. Why? Why would they want to destroy it after Russia's invasion? Because the Russians could have grabbed it and exposed it to the world. Highlights its basement level, directly aligning confirming Russian accusations of secret work there, and assesses it as an ongoing target and potential military action seizure. Russia accused U.S. of biological weapons work at the site. Tulsi Gabbard just confirmed it. What's significant is that for years, Russian claims about U.S. biolabs in Ukraine were widely dismissed by Western governments and the media as baseless disinformation. This vindicates Russia, I should say. Now, he says, is this what they planned for us? We built and funded over 40 labs in Ukraine. 40 labs. Anthrax, Ebola, Marburg, plague, Lassa, MERS, SARS, tularemia, tuberculosis, and others. U.S. scientists trained the Ukrainian staff to work with these high-risk pathogens. Many labs operate at high biosafety levels used for the most dangerous diseases. A map in the document shows lab locations across Ukraine, including Kharkiv, Odessa, and others. Some cost over $3 million. That goes a long way in Ukraine, folks. Several labs received official permits to work with especially dangerous pathogens. This document confirms U.S. directly built and paid for dozens of labs, storing some of the world's most dangerous pathogens with millions of taxpayer dollars. Heads need to roll. So what Tulsi just confirmed is insane, guys. It's absolutely insane. This is massive exposure of City of London, Davos, Deep State, what they were doing. And again, it's just more proof that, try to be somebody who says COVID wasn't born in a lab at this point, especially after today. Try to be that person. Try to say like we're not trying to control things. What about the nonstop attempts at getting another pandemic out there? Whether it's hantavirus, which they just tried, or bird flu, avian flu, they're always pushing new things. Where do you think it's coming from? This is absolutely wild. Here's some of the U.S. government agencies and contractors listed: Black & Veatch, CDC, USDA, U.S. universities and research institutions. Florida, Tennessee, Kansas State, New Mexico, Alaska, Anchorage, JGI, other partners, Helmholtz, Center for Environmental Research, Orion, Satoso, OIC, Ukrainian entities, various of them. There are others. This is described as a small sampling, so these are the documents starting to jump out. Man, absolutely wild. What else have we been saved for? What? This is going to mess with some people. What did Russia going into Ukraine in 2022 save us from? That's a good question, isn't it? That's a good question. Has Putin just been working with us the whole time? So Tulsi just dropped all this. I'm sure there's going to be much more coming out as people go through these documents and post it. Remember, this just came out, and so it's very new. More to come, but Tulsi has gotten the ball rolling, and hopefully this is just the beginning. There's a lot of speculation that she's going to end with a bang with the election data. Now that would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? So with Tulsi doing this, we have Trump announcing her new official replacement. So remember, Bill Pulte starts next Tuesday as the acting ODNI, but now Trump has gotten an official nomination that could actually get through. However, it's interesting. He didn't nominate this person to be acting, so Pulte will still have a little time there. But listen to this. I'm pleased to announce the nomination of very highly respected Jake Clayton former chairman of SEC, former head of Sullivan Cromwell, one of the most prominent, successful law firms in the world, and the current U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. Remember that. That's important. To be the next director of national intelligence and, importantly, to serve in my cabinet. Few people anywhere in the legal community are respected at the level of Jay. I encourage the U.S. Senate to confirm Jay as soon as possible. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, we've all been talking about Pulte and what Pulte's going to do and how long he'll be in there. Here's the question. We don't know how long it'll take for this guy to get confirmed. Will Pulte have a week? Will he have a month? Will he have 6 months? We don't know. Now, the Senate is all of a sudden, there are people coming out and celebrating this pick. I have a couple thoughts here. Was Pulte a rug pull? Or was Pulte brought in for a week or two just to smash things up? Before this guy takes over. Because Pulte was never going to get confirmed. That's obvious. Did Trump nominate Pulte knowing it was going to panic all these people, get them freaking out, so that he then could get the guy he actually wants? And the reason I think this might be who he actually wanted the whole time, because first of all, remember, Pulte is, it's exciting. He hates the deep state. He's very Trump loyal. He is the kind of guy who will just go in and bust stuff up. So that all was exciting. Obviously, all the deep staters hate him, so they're terrified of him. All that's exciting. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see Pulte in there for a while. But again, he would never get confirmed. Did Trump put Pulte in there to scare them so he could get this guy in actually, instead of nominating him first? And look at this. He talking about election integrity. This is a little clip with Clayton.
Of what's happening in California right now?
No, I actually can't, which I think is the problem. You raised this about election integrity, which I think is the point.
That's what I'm watching it, and are any of the things we're hearing about, like thousands of votes all for the same person, is any of that true, or is that just this sort of conspiracy? Like 100% for the socialist candidate versus the others? Is any of that true?
Well, look, we had a deep problem with voting in America. We had race-based discrimination around voting that was identified. We had the Voting Rights Act. It was all about access, making sure that people were not denied access. There was a second element to it, which was election integrity, making sure that once everybody has access, that their vote actually counts, that it's not being diluted by illegal voting or shenanigans and the like. I think we've done, a pretty darn good job on access. I don't hear anybody claiming that they don't have access to the ballot box. What we've done.
You hear politicians saying that it's Jim Crow disenfranchisement.
But no evidence, right? We have groups dedicated to making sure that people have access. Tons of money dedicated to it. Laws and laws that my office enforces, other offices enforce to make sure that people. On the integrity side, we're doing an absolutely terrible job.
This guy this is exactly what Trump wants long term, is clean up the elections. And this guy seems to have a great understanding of how to do that and how bad they are. Now, here's a very interesting Q post about it. Trump nominated current U.S. State's Attorney for the Southern District of New York as our next Director of National Intelligence. Same SDNI that's been at the center of everything. Weiner, Clinton Foundation, Epstein, Ukraine, and more. All of this SDNY was right there, and now he just nominated the U.S. attorney from there to be ODNI. Guys, this is a masterstroke. And what he did is because Pulte was there and everybody's scared of Pulte, now they're all like, yeah, this guy looks great. I don't think they're thinking it through. But this guy should skate through the Senate because they don't want Pulte in there. They're terrified of Pulte, so they'll deal with this guy. This is very interesting. But look at this breakdown. SDNY, importance of control, jurisdiction, Weiner evidence collection, Clinton Foundation, Epstein evidence collection. Remember Pam Bondi was when she first came in, her and Kash Patel had to go to SDNY to get the files because the FBI agents there wouldn't turn them over. So they went to SDNY to go get them and force them to turn them over. That happened at the very beginning of Trump's term. Ukraine. All of this, and the guy in charge of it, the U.S. attorney from this district is now going to be ODNY. I mean, my God, folks, this makes perfect sense. This is the perfect person to take over for Tulsi. He's been around all of this. He's been seeing it, and now he'll have access to all the bigger stuff. I mean, this is awesome. And because Trump, it's clear he wasn't going to get Pulte through. This is a wonderful turnover. So with what's going to happen with Pulte, I don't know. He's supposed to start on Tuesday. Will the Senate between now and Tuesday rush Pulte through? I doubt it. They're lazy. Unless they're absolutely desperate. So he's going to have a little bit of time in there. He's going to have a little time. So when he comes in, well, he's already been authorized to clean house. Is he just going to go in there, fire a bunch of people, maybe drop some bombshells, make a mess, and then this guy gets to come in and be the savior when he's exactly what we need? This is going to be great. I'm very excited to see how this goes down. But this seems like Trump, again, playing some 45D chess, and I don't like to throw that out lightly because I don't like to be the person who says, like, who acts like Trump is some godly, crazy figure who, sees all. But I got to say, man, the dude's a genius. The dude's a genius because this is really good stuff. Oh, yeah. And guess where Maduro went, too. Wow. So X22 made this real quick, and I think it's great. Trump said directly, when we release the full files, you're not going to believe how crooked 2020 was. We have things you won't believe. We are more than ready. Timing's everything. He's waiting until close to the midterm, so the deep state has zero time to adjust their cheating strategy. California fraud happening in real time, plus Fulton County, plus Maricopa County, plus classified files all at once. Is this what's starting now? That's the question. Or is it going to be the SDNY guy who comes in? But it's very interesting to me that today Tulsi releases about the biolabs. Yesterday, the same day he announced the Iran deal, he announces the new ODNI nomination. And then also today, they just dropped more UFO files. What is happening? All of this at once? Here's orbs in the pond, as they say it. This is a video they just released. Whatever. It's not a great phone, but this was captured on an iPhone by a private citizen. Says below October 2024 in northern United States, hovering above a pond, luminous object resembled plasma-like sphere, changing shape and luminosity. So, but they just jumped a bunch of these at war.gov.ufo. So we're getting more and more D-class. And so while all this is going on, man, somebody's freaked out. Somebody's scared because look, somebody just sent Trump a message. And they did it in a very public way. On the lawn in Washington, D.C., National Mall, 8647, traced in the grass. 8647. And I'm investigating this right now. But again, you think any of this is, this is a bit like, this is not easy to do, especially with all the security there. So somebody covered why they got this mowed into the ground. And interesting timing, isn't it? As Trump's declassifying all this, as the Iran war might be coming to an end, City of London scrambling, deep state getting hit back, and all of a sudden we get 8647 at the National Mall. Wild. I think they're trying to fight back and send a little message of how scared they are. Now, this is a very interesting post, and I'm not saying I agree with it all, but I want it out there because I do think it's something to think about. The timing. June 11th, Pentagon evacuated. I didn't even get to cover that yesterday. There was all kinds of weird pathogens. Apparently, people showed up in hazmat suits in the air conditioning and cleared out the Pentagon on the same day. The Iran deal, the same day as ODNI, the day before declass. My God, folks, things are ramping up. Pentagon evacuated. They told you it was false alarm. Hazmat sensor triggered on floors at house skiff level intelligence archives. Multiple floors, hours of lockdown, no hazard found. You don't evacuate the Pentagon for a sensor glitch. You evacuate the Pentagon when you're moving something out. That's an interesting theory. The same day, Trump declares the war's over. A war that lasted 100 days. Ended in one phone call, signed by the weekend. We'll see about that, but it could be. Entire military industrial complex blindsided. No one in Congress briefed. No committee approved it. One man decided. Same day, Jay Clayton nominated to lead all U.S. intelligence. Former Wall Street enforcer, not a general, not a spy, a man who knows where the money went. It's all economic, isn't it? I've said it many times. It's an economic war. 3 events, one day, not coincidence, sequence. Senior Pentagon official, retired December 2025, 31 years of service, says, "What I can tell you is that non-standard continuity of government protocols were activated on the morning of June 11th. I received confirmation from 2 sources still inside. There's not drill resignation to transfer designation. Assets being relocated to secure facilities built between 17 and 19 during first term. Infrastructure has been waiting. What's happening now was planned before most of these people took their current positions." Now, this is a trust me, bro. I'm not gonna lie about that. It's anonymous, so I can't verify this, but I can verify that all these things have happened in the last 2 days. Very interesting. He says, planned before they took their positions. FBI operations seized $8 billion in cryptocurrency last week. You know what they named it? Operation Blackout. That's not a name you give to a fraud case. That's a name you give to a transition. 127,000 Bitcoin seized. This happened last week. 300 arrests, 3 continents. Accounts they drained were not random scammers. They were channels, funding channels. Same channels been kept certain people in power for 30 years. The money is gone. Now, we know this is true, as they've been pulling money from USAID, going after Bessent has captured all the money coming in and out of Iran. They've captured the money for SPLC and all these NGOs. We know this has been happening. The money funding Antifa, intelligence being transferred, wars are ending, machines being turned off. Now, this is where, we'll just have to wait and see if any of this comes to fruition. But this post is asserting, and June 17th, 5 days from now, June 29th, CERN goes dark. July 4th will be 250 years. Windows, 23 days. Everything that needs to happen will happen inside this window you were told to watch. Now, we'll see. We'll see. But, maybe this guy knows something. That is very interesting, though, all the timing. And I tend to agree that there's a lot of weird stuff happening all at once. So, we'll see. But this tells me they're panicking. 86-47. Somebody's big mad. Somebody's trying to send a message to President Trump. And the timing is not coincidence. As Tulsi dropping bombs, the new ODNI guy, SDNY, all this stuff. All at once. Iran, all this in the last 2 days. So something is happening. And I think it definitely looks towards something good. But we'll have to see how it all plays out. I'll do my best to cover it as we go forward. But guys, in my estimation, this definitely is like, it tells me that all those things we've been hoping for, the arrest, the exposure, it's all starting to bubble to the surface, and it looks like it's all planned to really ramp up in the next few weeks. All right. Take a second, hit that like and subscribe. I still got much more coming, guys. We got all kinds of updates on much more going on with the midterms. And of course, the grifter report, which is massive today with the psyops they are pushing out there. But first, let me get into the chat. Make sure I'm all caught up on super chats and tagged comments and questions. And I'll do my best to answer them all real quickly before we go on to the next segment. But please hit that like and subscribe. And guys, if you do really love this show and you want to support me, listen, I'm not sponsoring anything. I'm not sponsored by anyone. It's all user supported here at the show. So if you don't mind, please hit the like, subscribe, and hype. And if you want to support the show more, there's a membership that's awesome. You get into a Discord. It's a great community. Plus, you get access to members-only live shows with all kinds of stuff I cover and deep dives, do classes, that sort of thing. If you want to check that out, go into the description, click the Patreon link. If you sign up using that link, you get a free month to test it out, see if you like it, become a part of the community. Try, and if you don't like it, hey, no obligation, you can leave for free. But if you do like it, you can stay just for a few bucks a month and support the channel. So thank you for your attention to this matter. All right, I did see a super chat. I want to make sure I click. Towns with the $2 super chat, but he retracted his message, so I don't have anything else for you there. But thank you for the super chat, Towns. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. I don't see any tags, so maybe nobody had any questions or comments this time, and that's fine. XRP Alchemy says Jay Clayton dropped the SEC Ripple lawsuit just before walking out the door at Winter Solstice 2020. Really? That's interesting. Are we sure that was him? Huh. Betty Mongolia says, speaking of viruses, anybody else find it funny how fast the Hana virus just disappeared? Nobody reacted the way they thought. Nobody panicked, and now it's just gone. 100%. They want us to panic, and that's how they'll get us. Kay Shuey says, Jay's a deep stater. Well, I tell you what, I don't think deep staters are out there talking about election fraud. If you can find me one that is, I'd love to see it. But I have yet to see a deep stater actually saying our elections don't have integrity. They usually play by the other game. So I just telling you, I don't necessarily see that. Let's see here. Clayton is in charge of the Maduro investigation. Interesting. Drip, drip, flood. That's right. Okay, going through the chat. Sorry, guys, just making sure I'm not missing anything. People trying to get to me. Rumdog says, I think the grass damage was done with a sprayer to spray gas or grass killer on it. Mower could easily be spotted and see my camera. Sprayer can easily be hidden. You know what? You're probably right. But okay, so even if you're right, which you likely are, because that makes more sense, look how perfect this is. That's still very difficult to do with a sprayer. So, interesting. $5 super chat from Job for 9 says, will you consider doing a members live perhaps on Rumble of the USC fight? You mean on Sunday? Yeah, I'll definitely consider that. I can't stream it though. So we'll have to see. Bruce Rice with the 20 gifted memberships. My God, thank you so much, Bruce. That's an incredible gift from you. Thank you so much. Everybody who just got a membership, welcome. And you now have full access to all the members lives on my YouTube. What you do is go to the community posts on my channel, go to community where all the posts are, and you will see members only posts. And each one of those has a link to a members only live. And that's how you get into them. Bobby Girl with the $5 super chat as well. Thank you so much, Bobby, for that. Very, very sweet of you. I thought I wanted to be sponsored by any and all craft beers, Rumdog. Well, none of them have asked yet. So, but Dogfish Head, if you're looking for a sponsor, I'm your guy. I will legit drink a Dogfish Head beer on every one of my lives if you'll sponsor me. That's my favorite brewery. That's my favorite one. So, what's James Carville near there? This is something James Carville do, except he's too old and lazy. He just likes to sit and turn on his iPad and talk to people and, cuss a lot. That's all James Carville does these days. Lisa Doxy says, Tulsi said she was going to continue to work maybe behind the scenes. I'm sure there'll be something with Tulsi. Yeah, where she'll still be involved in some point, especially if she's trusted, which I believe she is. He's a sponsor by Q Alert. He supports me, but I want to say he sponsors me. But okay. All right, guys. Well, hey, as I go through the next segment, if you have any questions, comments, please tag me so I can see them. Or super chats are always guaranteed to be read. So thank you for your attention to this matter. In the meantime, please hit the like. Make sure you hit the subscribe if you're new. And we are going to get into where we're headed, because there is so much to talk about, on and on and on. But we're going to cover the latest on the updates on the elections, especially California, and forward looking to the midterms. And then I got a massive grifter report for you guys today. Oh, all the stars are there. Tucker, Candace, Alex Jones, Ian Carroll, they're all there today. So it's got a Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's a massive Hunter Biden, massive grifter report today. So you guys are not going to want to miss that. But we're going to get through this one first so I can spend my time on the grifter report and really give it its due diligence. But James Carville's starting to look like something out of an uncompleted gestation Pokemon ball. He looks like if Popeye was like extremely dehydrated, like to the point where it sucked out like all the brightness in his face. Just like the soul was sucked out of Popeye. That's what I think of James Carville. So, good stuff. All right, you guys ready? So, lots going on with the. Excuse me. I need to take a sip. I'm about to cough all over you guys with this dry mouth. All right. So waiting for the Supreme Court to issue their decision on mail-in ballots, and hopefully it happens soon, because the latest going on in the midterms and these California elections of primaries, it's a lot of it's trending bad for Democrats. However, what they're doing with this steal in California, it's got the whole world paying attention, especially most of America, revealing just how insane that they do things in these deep blue states. Well, California is kind of opening that up. There is hope, however, for Republicans and MAGA, because just like I mentioned a week ago, if the Supreme Court decision comes out soon, it might be enough to get Spencer Pratt back in it. Listen to this.
Jonathan, so let's go to the mail-in ballot case first. So California is still counting the ballots days after the election. So if the postmarks can be handwritten, they can be handwritten and kind of fudged and still be counted. How can the voters be confident this is really a secure process?
Well, California is a system that is so vague it's unintelligible, and I think even people, a significant number of people in California have had enough of it. But this case is very interesting. If you listen to the oral argument, it did seem like a majority of the justices were prepared to say that when federal law says Election Day, they mean Election Day. And there was some really interesting exchanges where, for example, Justice Alito pressed the counsel in that case to say, well, how far does this go? I mean, how long can your state extend the meaning of Election Day? And basically, the counsel shrugged and said it's up to the state. Well, obviously, the justices didn't like that. What was the most interesting moment for me during that oral argument is that Justice Kavanaugh asked one of the attorneys, if we do vote that Election Day means Election Day, is there enough time to enforce this by the midterm elections? And the answer was yes, that even for military ballots, those probably don't get mailed out till September. So this could impact the midterm.
Boom, baby. Now, as far as California, I still say that, we've already seen Trump come out with a post saying, I don't care that a lot of you already voted. We're going to abide by election law. And so he's trying to get a lot of these states to redistrict still. And that pressure has worked in a couple of them. But in California, they could pull the same thing. The DOJ could say, well, this is law. This has happened before you guys even certified your election, which doesn't come till, I believe, July 2nd. You're going to have to redo your election or get rid of all the ballots. I could see that being a possibility because, again, it was stated this could definitely be enforced before the midterms. And in my opinion, that means the DOJ seems keen on enforcing it immediately. So Spencer Pratt, guys, it's not over yet, in my opinion. And thank God, because the fraud there is just insane. Here's some of the latest news coming out of California. Breaking news, tens of thousands of Pratt voters are now receiving rejection letters from the county clerk saying their ballots were not counted due to signature irregularities. So you don't have to show your ID in California, but if your signature's a little off and you're a Republican voter, because we never hear about this happening to Democratic voters, if you're a Republican voter and your signature's a little off, oh, we're not going to count your vote. Well, you could be having a bad day and your signature could be a little bit off. You could be, maybe you're a little over caffeinated and you're shaky. There's lots of, but this is insane. No ID, but then this, they have completely designed this for fraud. It's legal in California until it's not. It says Gavin Newsom passed legislation making it illegal for anyone conducting oversight to contest signatures they deem fraudulent. So you can't even contest it. Democrats allow ballots to be signed with X, A-, or a smiley face to pass and count, but all of a sudden only Republican signatures being flagged for irregularities rejected and not counted. One of these California Republican voters said his signature has been on file for 20 years, and there's never been an issue until he voted for Spencer Pratt. Nithya Raman has beaten Spencer Pratt by less than 3,000 votes, or at least 18,000 Pratt voters who received this letter. There it is, guys. They just hit him from all angles. How crazy is this? How crazy is this? We got to get that Supreme Court thing here soon because this is just insane. This is what they're doing. So, I do believe there's hope here. I do believe with all the attention on California that even if we don't win this battle, it's going to help us win the war of election integrity because this is so egregious the more we see of this. Now, speaking of egregious, these are the people we're running. These are the people that the Democrats are running. Here's Graham Plattner, that bastion of moral rectitude and principle, and just having a little slip up. And I thought we could laugh at him for a minute, but it tells you what Democrats really think. Remember, they always show you, but you got to be paying attention.
What we don't have enough representation for is people that work for a living, people who are in labor unions, people who work multiple jobs, people who are disabled and stuck at home, unable to work in the structures that we've created around them. Families who are saddled with children with cost of childcare, not saddled with children. We're blessed with children.
These people hate kids. They hate kids. They're the ones who encourage, go out in the workforce, don't have a family, you're good, be single, be a power woman, total feminism craziness to the extreme. They're the party of abortion up till the moment of birth, and in Virginia, sometimes in other places, even after. That's crazy. In California, they tried to pass a bill a couple years ago where you could abort a baby up to 2 years old. Yeah, that's not a joke. I covered that on my show, but that was years ago. But thankfully that didn't get through. But that's the kind of thing. But he said it. Saddled with children. This is what they think.
With cost of families.
You see here, he catches himself fast because he realizes what he just did.
Who are saddled with children, cost of childcare, not saddled with children. We're blessed with children, saddled with childcare.
Oh man, I am going to love seeing this guy go down. But again, the Democrats, man, they're forced to support that guy. They're forced to support Tallarico. Here's Reverend Warnock, okay, the pastor, senator out of Georgia. This is him defending Tallarico and all the insane things he's talking about as another pastor who is apparently about the Bible. And here's him with Tim Miller, the previous fraudulent Republican strategist turned crazy liberal who runs the Bulwark. But just listen to the kind of nutso things they have to say to defend these people.
I interviewed Tallarico about a month or two ago now. He cited you kind of as a mentor and a model, as somebody who's a Christian, leader.
Look how they're trying to push this narration, okay? These are Christians. These are good people. They're trying to pull the wool over your eyes. It's not going to work because they're insane. Their belief systems are so crazy. But you see how they're like, instead of changing, instead of moderating, now they're just straight up trying to infiltrate people with values by lying to their faces about who they actually are.
In the Democratic Party, I'm wondering if you've been watching his campaign, if you have any thoughts, if you had a chance to talk to him about, whether he can kind of follow in your footsteps and into the Senate.
Yes, we've talked a couple of times. He reached out to me when he started his campaign and came to D.C. and sat down, met with me. He's doing great. And it's good to see someone else out there in a very
you hear all the ums and stuff. He doesn't know how to defend this guy. He's trying to come up with something.
Clear way, living out his faith, speaking about it in relationship to issues of public policy is deeply refreshing.
Deeply refreshing. Calling God non-binary, 6 genders, all this crazy stuff. But you see, like the humming and hawing. They do not like who they've elected. They are scared. They are scared they're going to lose the midterms because of their insane people they've brought on. And one of the other reasons is we keep getting all these massive wins with redistricting and election integrity in red states. Now, in Florida, we redistricted to where the Democrats only get four seats. And Mark Elias, who is one of the heroes of the left and liberal, who's always challenging, always taking stuff to court, always trying to undo things that Republicans get forward, he went to the Supreme Court in Florida and tried to get their map overturned, and it was completely shut down and isn't even going up to the Supreme Court. So another massive win there. And now Mark Elias's losing streak has continued on and on and on and on. He's in a bad place. And then, so with all this going on, we keep getting all these polls, right? The Democrats are winning, they're gaining, but it's all rigged, because the reality is, even though some people might not be happy with Trump and how much he's gotten done yet, we're seeing more and more of these stories come out. And this is not, I guarantee you, this is not what CBS expected to hear when they ran this segment. Listen to this.
I think he's amazing.
Neighbors Catherine Desatel and Ron Dundor.
It says North Carolina and Georgia voters on how they feel about Trump's first 100 days, chewing over his record.
Now bond over their shared love for Trump.
Yes.
Ron didn't vote for him in the last election, but now he wishes he had.
I've been very pleasantly surprised with what he's doing with the country. I think he's got a really good cabinet in there this time.
Being from California and Arizona, I dealt with the immigration crisis and saw how it affected our daily lives. I believe he's a man of his word.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that, because I had given up on politics. I think he's
How huge is that? These are real Trump voters, very happy. She said she'd given up on politics. She's stoked. This guy says he didn't vote for Trump, but what he's seen is amazing, and he wish he had. Guys, this is not being talked about. They put this on CBS. You better believe this isn't just these two. This is all over the place. And we're being lied to about all the other crazy stuff, okay? I know, I get people all the time who are like, well, Trump hasn't done nothing for me. I'm still struggling. Okay, fine. Yeah, I get it. But you know what? Are you going to vote for the other crazies? I don't think so. But those who are paying attention get it. And I understand, like, there's still struggle, financial struggle, stuff like that. I get that. I get gas prices being up. Sucks. I get that you didn't even want to see anything happen militarily ever again, even though that's a crazy thought. And you didn't like Iran. I get that. Fine. But would you still want the other guy? There's no boots on the ground in Iran. We didn't invade. The gas prices were down. They're temporarily up. They'll go down again. They're already starting to. food prices, all that takes time. It takes 18 to 24 months for economic policies to really take root. I mean, come on. Everybody who pays attention understands. We're not negating the fact people are still hurting. But see, these are older folks. They get it. They get it. They've been around. They've been around the block a few times. And they've been very disappointed in the past. And now the opposite is happening. They're waking up. They're seeing what's actually happening. They're impressed. And I got to say, this matters a lot more to me than some 20-year-old who, you know, has never lived long enough to understand how any policy affects him. But this is a big deal. And coming into the midterms, old people vote. Old people vote much, much more than young people, especially in the midterms. It goes way up. And so speaking of helping people, keeping promises, Trump signed something yesterday is actually a pretty big deal. Here's an executive order Trump passed yesterday that's going to really help our seafood and re-energize the entire fishing industry. Listen to this.
Our really great fishermen, great people, by restoring commercial access to 3 areas of the Western Pacific Ocean. It's a large amount of space we're talking about that they were restricted. Other countries would use it, but our country couldn't use it. You ever hear anything so stupid? I want to thank Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum, Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy, and Congresswoman Kimberly King Hines for joining us today. We appreciate it all very much. Thank you very much. Thanks as well to Captain Sig Hansen, a superstar. Him and Tom Cruise are the 2 biggest people in entertainment. Thank you very much. Great job. And Pacific Seafood CEO Frank Dulcich.
So Trump just opened up 500,000 square miles of ocean that had been closed off by environmentalists for fishing. This is going to bring back cheaper seafood and fresh seafood from our shores. And this is the kind of thing he's just doing it all the time. It seems small, but it's actually huge. And it also goes to prove that even though we need the Senate to pass a lot of major things, and they're holding Trump up on a lot of what Trump's able to accomplish is overturning stupid regulations and the bureaucratic state. Getting that done. And that stuff Trump can do unilaterally over and over again, which he continues to chip away at. So this is beautiful. This is one of those things that you don't hear about. It's not going to make national news in a major way, but it's actually a really big deal because this is a major industry in our country, and they've had their hands tied for a long time when Trump just untied their hands. So big deal. And while that's going on, we have the new reports are coming in. Remember Trump signing all those deals last year saying trillions are coming into the U.S. Well, foreign investment has now officially surged to $232 billion so far after 4 years of decline. 4 years of decline. That's Biden and then Trump's first year, which was based on Biden's deals. He's signed all these deals and the money is coming back to America. It actually is happening. So for all those who are like, this doesn't mean anything, they're not going to do anything, Trump's not going to pull it off, this is all lies, they're never going to pay anything. No, so far, $250 billion invested in our country from foreign investment just this year. That's massive, massive. And again, all this is going on. This is all going to start impacting the economy. It's all going to impact prices. It's all going to start making wages higher, jobs better. It just takes a little bit of time. And while all that's going on, guys, and it's starting to make the turn because of this, we just got a bombshell poll from Harvard Harris X yesterday, Forbes Harris X, that is terrifying the Democrats. It is Democrats now in the generic poll. This is rigged polls. This is with all the stuff going on. They're only got a 1-point lead. They need a 5-point lead to overcome the redistricting advantage. So this is terrible news for them because it's only going to keep getting better for the Trump administration as we go forward. So look at this. I mean, males plus 10. I mean, all the demographics here. So, but it's guys, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. And it feels like I'm the only one saying this, but I'm going to continue to say it. I still think we have 60 to 70% chance of holding the House in the fall and like a 90, 95% chance of holding the Senate. So I'm not worried, but we'll continue to monitor and see how it goes. But I'm telling you, these investments, these changes he's making, it's going to start waking up the economy really quickly. And more and more people like this guy are going to be waking up before the midterms. It's good to win. It's good to be on the winning side. All right, guys, please hit that like and subscribe. I know the next thing is what you've been waiting for, the Grifter Report. It's a coming next. But first, I want to get into the chat. I did see a bunch of super chats came in, so I want to make sure I say my thank yous and address all of them. Trish Coate with the $20 super chat. No question or comment, but thank you, Trish, for your continued support of the channel. Threads of Hera with the $10 super chat as well. Thank you, Threads. Also, no question or comment, but so I'll just accept the donation. I appreciate you so much. Sean Dugan with the $5 super chat says, I was watching on YouTube last night. Putin and Trump signed a secret deal. Ukraine lost the war. Zelensky caught on tape by U.S. That's interesting. Sean, would you mind maybe sending me the link to that in the comments on a post or something so I can see? Because I'd love to check out where you saw that source. And another super chat just came in from Job for 9. Says signatures in the White House. Wow, absolutely, man. That's where he does it. Gets so much flipping stuff done, and we're just blessed. Thank you, Threads. I see you. Appreciate you. You guys are the best. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything else tagged wise, because we got a massive Grifter Report coming up next. So much to get through. They are going. It's clear to me we're starting to see a major psyop attack again. So, and it's because they're panicking. We're gonna see what happens. Jeremy 7818 says, on the labs, did you notice Black and Veatch named? That's not testing. This is commercialization. Type of stuff right out of Diary of an Economic Hitman. Interesting. I did not put that together. Thank you for that. Let's see. What else? Hannah says, gas prices would have been $20 a gallon if Trump wasn't doing the amazing job he's doing while dealing with that barbaric Islamic regime. I'll tell you, I don't know if it would have been 20 that soon, but if we'd gotten Kamala Harris and she'd continued the war on oil and fossil fuels, that $20 a gallon would not have been that far off in the near future. And then they would have forced us all to have electric vehicles that just die everywhere. Christy Blanc says, what are my thoughts on Devin Nunes being put up for ODNI? I'm so certain that's who Trump really wants in that spot. Well, Christy, you must have missed my earlier segment. He has put up a new person for ODNI, and it's not Nunes. So I know that was speculated. A lot of people thought that was going to happen, but it has not. And you know, I think Trump has other things for Nunes to do. ODNI would have been great. I would have been all for it. But I like what I'm seeing from the person he nominated, this Clayton guy, being that SDNY has so much importance in all the things they've been doing. Let's see. Sav says he needs to get going on the U.S. average worker. Taxes too high. Wall Street is fine. Main Street needs a break. Well, yeah, Sav, when you say Trump should do this, he can't. Do you understand? When you say tax-free up to 100K would be awesome, I agree with you. Trump can't do that. That has to be the Senate. See, we're a nation of law and processes. So a lot of the stuff people get mad at Trump about, he just can't control. What he has done is delivered the biggest tax cut in our history. Our taxes are the lowest now they've been since the income tax was instituted in 1913. He has deregulated, and he continues to deregulate like crazy. But see, the problem is that stuff takes time to go into the economy. He's signed all these trade deals. He's cut the trade deficit. He's gotten people to invest here at home. He's getting factories rebuilt. All of that is happening. I mean, we have the data. It's happening. So the relief for Main Street is here. It just takes time to filter through. The only direct immediate relief he could provide, but this would still need Congress, is stimulus checks. But stimulus checks, that creates more inflation. So, I understand what you're saying, but he actually has helped Main Street massively. The problem is it just takes time for this to go through. Whereas Wall Street, the reason it looks like it's doing so good compared to Main Street, it's not that Trump made it easier for them. It's just that what happens is the people who already have money, that's the difference. They have money and you don't. The people that have money, they see what Trump's doing. They get excited, so they start investing. And that's why you see Wall Street boom real quick, because that money is just them pouring in. It has nothing to do with Trump making life easier on them. In fact, the tax cuts actually help us more than them. The top rate barely went down. The lower rates went down substantially. So, guys, it's all a lie that Trump's helping out the rich. But a deregulated economy, a lower tax economy helps everyone, rich and poor. But the poor don't have any money to get jump started, so it takes them a little while longer to feel the effects. The rich pour a bunch of money into the economy when it's getting better immediately, and all of a sudden it looks like they're getting richer as their assets are going up, but that money does start coming down because those investments go into jobs, they go into innovations. They do lead to higher wages and better jobs, but it just takes a little longer. And people who don't understand economics don't get that. And I understand most people don't have time to understand economics like that. And that's okay. But I'm saying Trump has done a lot for Main Street. It's just a matter of it coming back to us. Think about gas prices. They were higher under Biden. And that is one of the things he can impact more quickly. They were way lower before Iran, and they're going lower again. So that's the kind of thing like that does help immediately. But there's not much else he can do other than more government spending. And that gets us into the place we're already at. Trump's trying to free us of that so we have a better long-term growth and wealth. But that does mean temporarily it's a little slower. But that's how it works. Violence of Poetry says Trump's overpowering the left through sheer work ethic. They can't focus on one thing to isolate, demonize. It's work ethic and willpower. I completely agree with you. And focus, I would say. Let's see here. Anybody else before we go on? Oh my God. 11 victims in the Midland shooting today. That's horrible. So terrible. God bless their families. Be with them. Okay, I don't see any other tags or super chats, so we'll get ready to move on to the next. Ryan says, well, that's why we lost so many jobs in America, because of regulations. Yeah, regulations and high taxes, absolutely. And globalization, which Trump is also closing that off. XRP says, what if income tax was unconstitutional or not properly made law from the start? Actually, XRP, I subscribe to that belief. However, it doesn't matter anymore until somebody proves it and challenges it through the Supreme Court, which good luck. It's going to just have to be undone by Congress. And unless somebody like the Trump administration challenged it. And then it still might not hold up, because even though there is some strong evidence that it was ratified unconstitutionally, it still was ratified, and it's been over 100 years. So I doubt the Supreme Court would overturn it. I think it's going to be Congress is going to have to get rid of it. And we're just not there yet. We're not there yet. But maybe the 2028 Congress or the 2030 Congress would do it with Vance or Rubio as president. I'm very hopeful for the future. I think we're going to get bigger and bigger changes as things go, but it's just going to take a little time. People need to be patient. I think most people don't realize how much is already happening. And because it's a buildup to get to the biggest things. All right. Whew. Hold on. Got a lot to talk about here. Okay. You guys ready for the grifter report? Like I said, this one's got all the stars in it. I got a lot to talk about on this stuff. I got a lot to talk about on this. So, yesterday, with everything going on, Trump claiming the Iran war is over, announcing ODNI, Tulsi Gabbard today coming out with all this bombshell explosive evidence of biolabs. We get 8647 in the lawn. Lots going on, right? Well, with all this going on, the New York Times also dropped a new story on Epstein. And of course, they're bringing it back around. Why? Because the Trump team, MAGA, is starting to gain significant momentum heading into the midterms, and they are panicking. So it's time to bring out their old favorite Epstein. It's all Epstein all the time. And says inside Trump's White House, the Epstein files caused a freak out. Now, in this story, one of their major allegations is that Trump called Charlie Kirk and told him, lay off, told him, chill out, get off this story, and made it sound like Trump was doing everything possible in full panic to get Charlie and everybody else to stop talking about Epstein because he was so scared of what was going to come out. And of course, is anybody surprised? Candace Owens is jumping all over it. And Candace immediately, because Candace she cares about the truth so much. She does. And Candace, she loves the truth so much, and she's so good at investigating that she completely trusts the New York Times. The paper that has constantly been wrong about Trump in every single thing. The paper that has constantly promoted every left-wing attack on Trump and MAGA for a decade. That is such a bastion of truth. Candace Owens, of course, trusts it intrinsically and comes out immediately and says, absolutely wild to learn Trump called Charlie and reprimanded him about his coverage of Epstein. Anybody want to raise their hands? You believe that? On July 12th, the day after I keep insisting made a decision to kill Charlie, according to our timeline. The day after. So she's saying that on July 11th, she's saying they decided to kill Charlie because July 12th was the day after. Interesting. So you got any evidence there, Candace? Of course she doesn't, but she's going to say it. I've said over and over again, Tucker's speech at SAS caused the psychopathic Zionist to begin targeting Charlie. So Tucker was such a truth sayer that he triggered the Israelis to kill Charlie. This all makes so much sense all of a sudden. It says, this absolutely makes my skin crawl about Erica hugging Trump. That woman is despicable. Anything but a legitimately grieving widow. My God, Candace, could you be more disgusting and sick and just angry? I mean, come on. Like, this is not how we talk. Well, Andrew Colvett, who is friends with Charlie Kirk and continues to help run TPUSA, gives us the actual story. He says it was actually very widely reported at the time that Trump called Charlie in July at SAS in 2025. We'd gone pretty hard on Epstein topic at the conference, urging full transparency and release of Epstein-related files. I pulled a few screen grabs of the reporting, but there's a ton. There are actually 2 calls that happened. Here's the truth. Trump was upset in the first call. This is true. He thought too many of his supporters and many of our speakers were buying into a Democrat tactic to use Epstein against conservatives. The first call was pretty short. Oh, so Trump was right again? Trump wasn't mad that they were talking about Epstein. He was mad about the way they were doing it. And so he called Charlie to be upset about it. But then a second call, I believe around 30 or 60 minutes after, I asked Charlie how it went. He said to me, we're all good, meaning he and the president. Oh, so Trump wasn't mad at Charlie. He was just mad about the situation. Pretty different from what Candace believes from the New York Times. As usual, the New York Times takes one thread of truth out of context and blows it up into something it's not. That's exactly how they work. Which is interesting because that's exactly how the devil works too, according to Matthew 4 when he was tempting Jesus, but I digress. Charlie said it was a warm call, that the president told Charlie he was doing a great job and the admin was working on solutions. Charlie communicated the grassroots wasn't going to move on easily, but was glad to hear things were in motion. I remember this well because he caught a bunch of bad headlines after the following Monday show saying he was done talking about Epstein for the time being, trust his friends and the ball's in their court to fix it. I remember this show. I remember when Charlie said that. I mean, I watched it. I watched Charlie say, I'm going to trust the Trump administration with the Epstein files because I've been talking to them. I can remember when that happened. Charlie was upset by the coverage because the left-wing media reported it like he was done forever But he was just trying to say he was giving the admin time to fix things without continuing to criticize. I remember that as well. He felt he'd said enough over the weekend for the time being. 2 calls were Saturday night, July 12th at SAS. For those trying to insinuate Charlie and Trump were estranged in some way after the calls, that's not true. A week later, after the Wall Street Journal dropped the alleged birthday card story, Charlie defended the president again on the show and on X, and countless more times in the months to follow. And here's the screenshots of Charlie versus the reporting. So again, but the real question isn't whether or not this is true, because of course they're going to try to blow something up into something it's not and try to turn MAGA. They're so desperate to split MAGA. They're so desperate because they know we can't be split, and they cannot believe that we had all these people. We had all these people in position to destroy MAGA, and they couldn't pull it off. The MAGA didn't fall for it. Tucker, Candace, all these people, we couldn't do it. We're not, my God, how are they so, they just don't fall for it. They don't fall for the grift. This is insane. How do they do it? But it's true. MAGA stayed by Trump because we see the truth. We read the Epstein files. We saw how Trump looks great in the Epstein files, how Epstein hated Trump and tried to take him out. He was working with Steve Bannon. He was working with Obama lawyers. He was trying to do everything he could to get rid of Trump. And said they're still, so now they don't have the story that Trump's in the Epstein files, that Trump did stuff. They don't even try that anymore. Now they just try to say it's the Epstein class. And Trump was so scared of it coming out. They're trying to do everything they can. It's not working. And Candace is finding out more and more. She just doesn't have any influence anymore because none of this happens. None of it falls. Because guess what, guys? We got receipts. Charlie loved Trump. Charlie never betrayed him. Charlie never turned. And that drives them crazy. But I got to tell you, they all got the memo. The memo is out there. We all got to go hard on Epstein again. Because here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Read this carefully. I'm going to talk in her gorilla voice. Read this carefully. That's how I think of Marjorie Taylor Greene. The people who fought to release the Epstein files have been targeted harder than the people who fought against the America First movement. What? They've been targeted harder than the people who fought against the America First movement? I don't think she knows what she's saying right here. That doesn't make any sense. You guys are the fake America First movement. You're the same people. Why? For years, Americans were promised accountability. No accountability for Democrats on January 6th committee. No one's been prosecuted for the stolen election in 2020. I mean, I agree with those things, but these things take time, Marjorie. Hey, Marjorie, maybe you could have stayed in the House and been a part of it. Been a part of helping get these investigations going on. Oh, no accountability for COVID. Well, actually, that has been starting. We've seen Fauci's top guys already be indicted. But regardless, okay, fine. Guess who was in a position to help with this? You were. And you quit. You quit. Like a total loser. You went out. You had a year left in your term. And you quit. Sorry, Marjorie. It's hard to listen to a quitter try to tell other people that they're not doing their job. Instead, the loudest attacks were directed at 4 Republicans who demanded the release of the Epstein files. Massey, Marjorie, Mace, all gone. It's beautiful. What a beautiful world we live in. You guys all sided with Ro Khanna, the biggest fraud of all, who's saying, we care about Epstein victims. And now he's out there supporting Graham Plattner, who is a sexual deviant and an abuser of women. And he's campaigning with them while at the same time calling. Yeah, that's why we pushed you out, Marjorie, because we saw who you're hanging out with. We don't trust these people. And so you choose that side. We don't trust you, dummy, which is why you left. And now you're popping up on Russian television, CNN, and The View. Come on, Marjorie. The problem is these people think we're stupid, and yet they're stupid because they can't figure out that no matter what we say, we keep losing. Why? We thought we mattered. Well, Twitter's not real life. That should concern every American. Americans were promised transparency and accountability. The question is, where is it? Actions speak louder than broken promises. Well, Marjorie, if actions speak louder than broken promises in your logic, then why is MAGA still supporting Trump, and why are we rushing you out? Because apparently those broken promises we're not too concerned about, or maybe we don't think he broke those promises. I don't know, Marjorie, but maybe if you thought about it for 2 seconds, you'd figure it out, but you're not going to because you're not that smart. And you're getting paid and enjoying your life in your Costa Rican mansion. Yeah, Costa Rican mansion. Good times. Good times out there. $5 million mansion in Costa Rica where she's at and where Massey's been hanging out with her. Yep. Fraud. Well, now we got the Epstein survivors are blasting Todd Blanche following the revelation he worked along the White House to protect Trump from the Epstein files. First of all, this didn't happen. Secondly, these are the same victims funded by Reid Hoffman, who is one of the worst people in the Epstein files. Reid Hoffman, who helped them put together their Super Bowl commercial. Reid Hoffman, who helped fund Thomas Massey when you guys were doing all this. Those victims are now going after Todd Blanche. Interesting. They always go after the people in charge of justice that Trump puts in charge of justice, whether it's Bondi, Kash Patel, Hegseth, all the most dangerous people to the enemy. These are the ones they keep going after. They weren't happy with Bondi. Well, now they got Todd Blanche, and oh yeah, they're going to try to go after him as well. Thankfully, we know you guys are. Will Chamberlain reports, it says the women are the ones containing the Epstein story. It's absolutely true. Why have none of you guys come to the house to testify? You've been invited. In fact, the FLOTUS, First Lady of the United States, Melania, came out and invited you up there. Said, please let everything come out. It's in your lap, ladies. And what did you say? No, we've already testified. Oh, that's helpful. Thanks. Because obviously, whatever you did, it hasn't gone out there. But then we've also found out that a couple of these ladies claiming to be victims were actually part of the trafficking. These aren't the real victims, folks. The real victims did several lawsuits years and years ago and have already been paid out by the Epstein, by his estate and by Citibank, Chase, Morgan. I mean, over $450 million have been paid out to the real victims. These ladies aren't on the list. So, ask yourself why. Why don't they simply go public with the names? That's a great question. They said they had a list for a year now? Blanche will be a great AG, but he's not telepathic. Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, where's the list? Massey said he had 20 names. We never got those, did we? No, we just didn't. And then, I mean, it's everywhere right now. Amber Woods, Epstein investigative journalist, desperately tried to tie Donald Trump to the Epstein files, is now saying survivor focus, but she's trying to take down Jay Clayton at ODNI. What? Here's Amber Woods. Jay Clayton's background's in corporate law, financial regulation, federal prosecution, non-intelligence. He never served in the intel community or held a traditional national security role. Interesting. Hey, Amber, since you care so much about Epstein and all this stuff, why are you hating on this guy so much? Oh, wait, because maybe he was the U.S. attorney in SDNY, which what? Managed and oversaw and housed the Epstein files? Wait, what? So the guy who was in the district, U.S. attorney, in the district that has the Epstein files, you don't want to be ODNI. That makes sense. Again, it's the people who hate them the most that kind of tell you how good these are. And this is why I think Clayton is probably going to be an excellent ODNI, as these people are scared. They're real scared. And, it's always good to remember that with all these people pushing the Epstein stuff and trying to say Trump hated Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk was turning on Trump, and Charlie Kirk was, all of a sudden the great defender of true MAGA and was going to expose Israel and all this. Well, just remember all these people who keep saying this stuff, like Candace, and Ian Carroll and all these people grifting behind Charlie. Well, it's a good reminder to remember what they really thought of Charlie. And somebody posted this today as a good reminder. So despite Charlie Kirk airing criticisms of Israel, hosting fiery debates on the topic, pushing back against overuse of the term anti-Semitism, opposing war with Iran, he was still treated like trash by the dissident right. And here's a good reminder. Charlie, September 6, 25, 4 days before he died, Jesus defeated death so you can live. Ian Carroll responded, and you've dedicated your life to serving the people who killed him. There it is. There it is. From the people who claimed Charlie was so awesome and are trying to tell us that they knew Charlie better than we did. Crazy. These people are absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But it's clear, they got their talking points. They're out there pushing new narratives. They're trying to get Epstein restarted. But this is what they do. They get their points, and every way they can divide MAGA, they're going to try. And if you guys remember, the other day I shared a clip of Tucker Carlson talking about how Iran was actually the good guy in the region, and he was the one that that Iran's the one that was supporting Gazans and looking out for the Palestinians, and everybody recognized them as this moral force. Well, he's not the only one saying this. We have this Sneeko guy who I don't follow Sneeko, but he's got a massive following, and he's out there now saying Iran's the only nation fighting for the oppressed in Lebanon and Palestine, and you want us to believe they're the enemy? Really, the same day Tucker says it, the same day. I'm telling you, it's pretty clear these guys are all coordinated and getting paid by the same people. It's absolutely wild. And one of the new things they're trying to push is that Graham Plattner needs to win. Wait, what? This is the most disgusting man who's been a candidate for a major political party in a long time. And the Democrats, they need the Senate. They're desperate to win the midterms. So they're going to, they don't care about Epstein anymore, any of this. They're going to platform Plattner. Well, we have all these now America First types, including Tucker Carlson's own brother, now trying to make Graham look better. Look at this.
Early prayers this morning was that the excellent voters of South Carolina will reject Lindsey Graham in this primary today and for Mark Lynch.
Well, that didn't happen. Lynch lost by 30 points. How about those grifter nominations? You guys are doing great. You guys are doing real well.
We'll see. I've seen some encouraging numbers. It's
I hope you're right. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen with Graham Plattner from Maine, the state you have?
I think it seems inevitable he's going to be in.
He's going to beat Susan Collins.
Yeah. It seems like.
I mean, obviously today's just a primary, but the general's coming up in November.
And how will that affect the GOP caucus? I wonder, because she's such a reliable conservative.
I mean, I know you've been talking a lot about the uniparty lately, and you have a decent point. It's like, how will any of this affect any of our lives in any material way?
When 88% of the country wants, transparency in elections, they want safe elections, and they've just given up on that. I guess now they have given up on it completely. It's dead. The SAVE Act will not be revived. That's what I understand.
Yeah, no, it's dead.
But yet, on a voice vote, they can basically confirm that our military and Israel's military should be merged.
Yeah, that we're now there's some sort of merge.
Just great, interesting. Just like they might as well just be making out. They're just agreeing on everything, softball questions. Graham Plattner, he'll take out that rhino Susan Collins, so that's ultimately a good thing. As Laura Loomer is saying, oh, now it won't be long before Graham Plattner's on Tucker's podcast any day now. Well, as far as we know, he hasn't been on Tucker's podcast yet, but Tucker did come out and had some nice things to say about him. Tucker. Answering this New York Times question, you're in Maine. Graham Plattner is a Democrat vying to be senator. Is that someone whose ideas you're interested in? And Tucker, I certainly appreciate his foreign policy views. And I appreciate, the trick to doing Tucker's voice is do Mickey Mouse, but just a little lower octave, slightly lower, not that lower. And it's like Mickey Mouse, but full of condescension instead of joy. And condescension and arrogance instead of joy. And I'm working on it. But this is we're getting close. I'm getting closer to Tucker, but it's very close. Mickey Mouse with arrogance and condescension and just a slightly lower octave. That's Tucker's voice. You know, I certainly appreciate his foreign policy views. I appreciate how different they are from everybody else in his party. I haven't met him. I plan to meet him. I don't know a lot about his other views. Yeah, you don't. Like, yeah, let's just put the Nazi on. Put the Nazi on. And I can just see it right now. Tucker, like, listening to him and be like, well, you know, these allegations of you assaulting women, and Plattner being like, yeah, you know, I was PTSD is terrible, but you know, I'm past that now. I'm a better person. And Tucker being like, oh, right. You know, like, who cares if you abuse somebody when you're PTSD? You know, that's what we're going to get from Tucker here soon. But you can see they're pushing it really hard here and trying to get this done. But it's just crazy to me that now, like the Plattner thing, this guy, they really want him in. City of London is really trying to get him in, because the fact that they're pushing him through like Carl Tucker and everything is just insane. And while Tucker's like pushing Graham Plattner and like starting to open up that door, well, he's going after Dan Bongino. So Mario Nafal, who's massive on X, has like over 3 million people watching. You know, he got called out by Elon the other day because he just reposts stuff. He's a total grifter. Okay. He comes across like, tries to be serious. He's built a business on X, but he's really just repurposing other people's content. But because of this, he gets to interview people like Tucker Carlson. And this guy is just totally like, there's something about him that's just deep state all the way, because he'll play both sides of the aisle, and then he always tries to take down Trump with stuff. But so he had Tucker on. And anyways, there's a whole new narrative Tucker's trying to push with the Butler assassination and taking down Bongino. Listen to this.
I know that about Butler. I know that Trump shut down the investigation into Butler. That is a fact. Dan Bongino told me that when he worked at the FBI. And Dan Bongino himself was terrified when I spoke to him in December. It's such a long, boring story, but basically I came into possession, I beg your pardon, accidentally came into possession of a lot of the social media posts that we were told didn't exist, that were posted by Thomas Crooks in the months and years before the shooting. And I was amazed that the FBI had lied about this. So I called Kash Patel, and I later called Dan Bongino, and I says, you know, what is this? I'm not attacking you. It was the previous FBI administration that did this. It was Chris Wray, but what is this? And Dan Bongino became hysterical with me on the phone. I've known Dan a long time, for many years, and always got him along with it.
Does anybody actually believe that he talked to Dan Bongino, brought this up, and Bongino just lit him up? I find that a little hard to believe, but
you know, whatever his faults, you know, nice guy, certainly very nice to me. I never had a problem with Dan ever. And that problem began when I brought this information to his attention, and he became a different person. He was clearly terrified. I didn't get it at first, but he was hysterical. And ultimately, after a long series of text exchanges, which I still have, and phone conversations, he said,
if you got the text, can you show him, Tucker? This seems like something that needs receipts, right? Or are you just going to pull a Candace on us?
Look, take it up with Trump. He's the one who shut down the investigation. And that was, I think, the first or second week of December. I think it was
You see what they're doing here? Trump shut down his own investigation into the guy who tried to kill him. I mean, if you believe that, I have some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you guys, and I'll give you a good price for it. But Bongino came out and had to just we're not going to go through the 12 minutes. It's quite long, but he just rips Tucker to shreds after what Tucker just said. And it's entertaining.
I don't have any, is he doesn't realize, like, I have these texts too. I never do this, but if you're going to refer to texts alleging we committed a crime, I'm going to put it out there. But first, let's address his 2 points. He says that the president shut down the Butler investigation. Totally, completely, 100% made up.
First of all, this is a lesson in body language, okay? Immediately, who seems more believable? Bongino, who's just directly speaking and quickly speaking, very assertive, very authoritative, or Tucker, who's just like, and I just like, just seems like to be going along on the way, like building up the story. He was hysterical. He was, he like, who seems more truthful right there? This is a lesson in body language. And you have to learn these lessons in order to tell the grifters versus the non-grifters. True people telling the truth, go directly to the point. They go directly to the point and then they build out from there. The grifters kind of dance around the point and tell you stories, and it's persuasion. They're all focused on persuasion. That's one of the differences. But Bongino is going right after it.
But we did a full interview with Brooke Singman from Fox, which to all the people who, by the way, think Tucker's for real, if you think I'm doctoring any of this, please go look this article up yourself. Don't trust me, trust the evidence. Here it was, November 21st, even before Tucker says he spoke to me in December. Exclusive. FBI concludes Trump shooter crooks acted alone after unprecedented global investigation. Now, he says the investigation was shut down. Yet here it is on the record in November. Again, the Tucker fans will apologize for him until the end of time because they just can't give up the Kool-Aid. Let me read this to you in case you're a Tucker fan who can't read. The case, that's the Crooks case, he says was shut down, currently sits in a pending inactive status. Wait, keep this up. Andy, does that say the case is closed? Andy's shaking his head. Jasmine, does that say that? It does not. No. It says the opposite. This is before Tucker claims he talked to me. But the official, this is one of the investigators, called the investigation one of the largest mobilizations of FBI resources in history that continued to this day. But keep this up, guys. Tucker just made a claim that he has text that I told him President Trump shut down the investigation. So we lied to Brooke Singman in November? If we get a credible lead, the FBI official said, well, continue to investigate. I thought it was closed. The director has been very clear, that's Kash Patel, about leaving no stone left unturned, and that is what we are committed to. See, ladies and gentlemen, that's information, but it's evidence.
Yep.
It's not information pollution. That is actual evidence right there that everything he's telling you is just made up.
So, and you guys can quibble over whether like a news story is evidence, but it is evidence of the fact that it's a real quote and that they never said it was closed. And that's an official statement that has never been counteracted, anything like that. But the point is also that people constantly, do I think there's stuff that happened with Matthew Crick's stuff? I'm sure there's weird stuff. Absolutely. But the problem is that, again, we live in a legal system with processes that take time and evidence, investigation, and proof to build up cases. And everybody who thinks like this can just be magically blown open immediately don't know what they're talking about. Continuing as investigation means continuing as investigation. And this is the kind of stuff that like we're gaslit to believe that these people that just, make millions of dollars telling us whatever they want to feed us, that they are the ones who are actually the true people of truth, that they know more about the people on the ground, that they know more about the people looking behind the scenes. And, you don't even have to love Bongino. You don't have to. But I can tell you something. He actually was there. He's trusted by all the right people and hated by all the wrong people. And for me, that's enough because we are in an information war and all we get is crumbs. And when all you get is crumbs, you have to make your decisions based on trust and track record. And Bongino has a much better track record at this point than Tucker. And that's just a fact. So, I'm going to trust him on there. But speaking of track records, this one made me laugh so hard. I'm sorry, but Alex Jones has Robert Barnes on. And the funniest part is that anybody thinks anybody still believes Robert Barnes on anything. But Tucker has Robert Barnes on this explosive interview. So, guys, I got to tell you, I had Barnes on the other day, and oh, my God, what he told me was crazy. All right, so I got an exclusive with Barnes, and he tells me it's a painful analysis, all right? The first Trump admin was one of the cleanest in history. So Mike Pence, all the Wall Street guys, we had what's his face? Bill Barr. They're the cleanest, man. They're clean. None of them were corrupt at all. Cleanest in history. I'm telling you that right now. Okay, just so you know. But the second admin is one of the most corrupt we've ever seen. The legendary looting of Ulysses Grant. They're globalists. I hate them. And we got to ask these questions. Why did Trump change so much from 8 years ago? And does this admin understand that Democrats currently set to win the midterms are going to have a field day coming after Trump is their circle? They're not even trying to hide the record level looting. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. This right here, I just like, oh my God. Okay. I don't say this often, or maybe I don't say this often enough. If you believe this first line here, you're clinically retarded. I'm sorry. It's just true. This is one of the... It's like, Alex isn't even trying anymore. This is getting so terrible. So bad. Here's like Fat Barnes, who, man, he's really gained weight. This guy just looks like a beluga whale now. It's getting bad for him. He must be panic eating and comfort eating after losing all that money from Thomas Massey. But I just like, this is so crazy. It's like, this alone is enough to like just no, you don't even have to watch the entire thing. There's nothing in this entire interview that's going to be real. Alex, the fact he's promoting it as if it's real is just so disgusting that we're at the point now where Alex just has no credibility whatsoever. This is insane. But Alex is really mad. He wants you guys to know he's really mad because people have been calling him out. And so, Alex, he gives an impassioned 13.5-minute speech, which we're definitely not going to watch. But you can trust my quote because he quotes himself, and he wants to tell you something. Bitch, you don't point your finger at 100% Americana, Bonneville, real McCoy, and tell me I work for the Russians, Chinese, or the effing Muslims. F you! Alex Jones delivers a powerful message to Ben Shapiro and so-called Trump supporters who attacked him, Tucker Carlson, and others suggesting they're on foreign payroll. You know what he didn't? You know what he didn't mention here, guys? Look at let's count this down. Russians. He's not working for the Russians. I'll say that. I don't think you're working for the Russians. Chinese. I don't think you're working for the Chinese, Alex. I don't know. Or the Muslims. I actually don't think you're working for the Muslims either, Alex. But I do think you're working for City of London. I think you're working for the deep state. I think you're working for the intelligence agencies, CIA, MI6, allegedly. I think you're working for that. The people you didn't mention, bitch. Oh my God. Isn't that interesting how that's who he didn't mention? I think that's hilarious. I think that's a great tell. Because he doesn't even want you to look at those ones. But, he doesn't work for the Russians, Chinese, or the effing Muslims. So there's that. There's that for you. So, but thanks, Alex, because this is kind of a, which one of these doesn't fit with the others, and you left out City of London. So I think I kind of know. You kind of let us in. So, but again, these people are like, you can tell they're panicking. You can tell like the grift is getting crazier and crazier. They're pushing weirder and weirder stories. They're really trying to get attention. They're really mad that their views are going down, and they just cannot believe they're losing all their supporters. They're losing all the so-called Trump supporters who attacked him and Tucker. But the other part is like they're just not that smart. And here's one of the greatest examples I've seen of how stupid some of these people are. It just happened in this what do you call this, round table they had, where on the left you have these America First, quote unquote, grifter types who are trying to destroy MAGA, including Owen Schroyer. And then on the right you have these other people who are like just regular people trying to report the news, trying to like call out some of these people, and Brandon Strzok in the middle moderating. But this is 40 seconds of Owen Schroyer looking like the biggest moron you've ever seen.
They declared war on us when they took a bunch of American hostages.
Oh, sorry, I didn't set the stage. They're talking about when Iran attacked the embassy in the 80s and pulled out and captured and kidnapped a bunch of people in the American embassy in Iran and later tortured them and all that. Not soldiers, not just regular people in an embassy. Embassies are supposed to be peaceful for diplomatic reasons. And so this is setting the stage. They're fighting over this because Owen is saying, we have no business fighting Iran.
They declared war on us when they took a bunch of American hostages during the 1979
and bombed the barracks. Where did that happen? Where did that happen?
In Tehran. Who cares?
So we were in their country. Okay.
Do you not care about? Wait.
Everyone's in if an Iranian military installment was here and we took them.
It wasn't a military installment there, Owen. It was an embassy, moron.
Prisoner, would you accept that?
Are you stupid?
Would you like that? It wasn't a military.
Are you stupid? This guy says. But Owen, he keeps pushing the point because you can kind of see it in his eyes. He kind of realizes, oh man, he's right. But instead of giving in, he just keeps pushing.
It wasn't a military. What are you talking?
So war in the Middle East ends up with our soldiers getting held hostage. Again, this is why I don't support it. I don't want our soldiers dying in the Middle East. I don't want our soldiers being held hostage in the Middle East. I don't want to spend more blood and treasure in the Middle East.
Was it a military barracks that they kidnapped over 40 Americans in 1970?
Yeah.
No, it was the embassy.
Okay, so what's your point?
You said it was a military barracks, that was an act of war.
No, you said that. I'm saying I don't want any troops in the Middle East.
I never did say that.
I said I don't want any troops in the Middle East. Do you want troops in the Middle East?
It was an embassy.
That's not true.
Do you want troops in the Middle East?
It was an embassy.
Oh, wait, you want troops?
You see what happens when they're pushed? It's insane. It's insane. These people are absolutely stupid. And when you push them, all they do is start yelling louder. That's what they do. It's the craziest thing. So, but this is a good example of how stupid they are and how they keep lying and all this stuff. And so while they're all doing that, and so we got the Epstein push, we got the Graham Plattner push, we got Alex Jones trying to push it out there that the first Trump administration was wonderful and the second administration is corrupt. They're just every angle. They're all doing this at once. You guys notice this? It's all been this week in the last couple days. They are just pushing again. It's a whole new psyop and we're going all out, multiple angles, all assets deployed, something. And they always do this when Trump is starting to win, when he announces the Iran war is over, when we get the new ODNI guy from SDNY, which is very important based on all the stuff that went on at SDNY, when we get Tulsi Gabbard dropping the Biolab bombshell, all this happening in the same week, and yet we're also getting major psyops all coming out the same week, all the grifters joining at once, and then they're continuing with the Hunter Biden psyop. Hunter Biden out there declaring war on the Democratic establishment. You know why he's doing that? He's trying to make himself palatable for the future. They're testing the waters to see if Hunter, just like I talked about yesterday, if Hunter could actually be a candidate. This is the desperation of the deep state, of the dark side. They are the dark side, the Democrat establishment. And in fact, Hunter Biden's on Gavin Newsom's podcast now. And he had to say this.
I'm joined today by presidential candidate Hunter Biden, 2028. Come on, Hunter.
No.
You got more buzz out there than you got the president of the United States, Donald Trump, talking about your candidacy for president of the United States.
I had to give you a break for just one day at least.
They're actually.
Here's the deal. I'll run, but only as your VP, because the truth of the matter is the vice president's residence is a lot cooler.
As your VP. You know what they're doing? They're testing the water. Just get that narrative out there, start seeing what happens. And, I got to tell you that with all this going on, with obviously what's going on with the Trump administration, what they're pushing, and all this craziness that all these grifter types are doing, and the way they're starting to push this nonsense on us. Remember, Candace, Sean Ryan, they all started the Hunter Biden resurgence. They're all in on it. This has been going on since Sean Ryan interviewed him, a year ago, 6 months ago, and then Candace gave him even a bigger platform. So they're trying to rehabilitate this guy's image, and now he's with the other presidential candidate, Gavin Newsom. So all this is happening, and at the same time, behind the scenes, we're starting to see some really interesting shifts. Now, all these people worked with General Flynn. And look at this, all on the same day. I resigned from America's Future PDPC board on May 9th. I stepped down from my position as advisor on the project, the PC board. As Digital Soldiers, I appreciate General Flynn. Liz Crokin, I want to put on the record publicly, I resigned from General Flynn's America's Future on June 8th. Why are they all resigning from General Flynn's projects, his operations? Well, could it be that they're starting to be investigated? State Department is reportedly opening investigation into Trita Parsi, considering possible deportation proceedings, according to the Free Press. This guy, Parsi, constantly on Bannon, or at least was recently. Many of the grifters go to his events. This guy is America First, MAGA, and now he's looking at deportation proceedings, foreign influence investigations. We have this starting to come out. In the coming weeks, there will be a lot of exposure of how the podcast alt-right has been actively coordinating with foreign actors to push anti-American influence operations. Direct evidence of this is about to come out. Iranian angle is actually least significant, but it needs to be exposed. As a reminder, officials close to the regime have admitted Parsi acted as an unregistered lobbyist for Tehran. He's been one of the main forces spreading pro-regime propaganda in the U.S. in coordination with elements of the far left and woke right. Parsi not only co-founded NIAC, but also the Quincy Institute, telling that people who pretend to care about foreign influence and even accuse Americans of dual loyalty are being dragged along by someone who isn't an American and works on behalf of a regime and regularly chants death to America. So we got the Qatari funding, the connections that we talked about the other day. And now we're getting actual investigations. Candace Owens in Russia trying to say like, no, nothing going on here. Yeah, guys, I think what we're seeing is these people are going to be starting to get outed very soon. The Trump administration isn't putting up with it. And as usual, investigations start behind the scenes and then it comes to light. So Parsi might be the first one to go, which most of us don't watch him, but he's well respected and connected to all these people. And guys, isn't it interesting? Qatari money, Iranian money. Thomas Massey was getting funded by these people. Tucker Carlson got his initial boost from Qatar to start his own channel. I mean, I think a lot's coming out, and this is why we're seeing, amongst other reasons, why we're seeing the ramp up, but it's also why we're seeing panic like Alex Jones going nuts. I don't work for these people. No, we know, Alex. We know. You work for City of London. and I think it's all going to start being exposed here in the next couple months. So exciting stuff. Grifters, get in losers, we're losing, as the Trump meme said. And that's where we're headed. All right, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you all for your attention to this matter, for watching. I have a small segment I'm going to do next to finish off. But listen, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit the hype button if you got it, if you enjoyed these segments. I did see a couple super chats come in, so I want to address those real quick. Let me get to it. Let's see here. We had a $50 super chat from one of the many. Thank you so much, sir. Says, thanks for quitting your job. Happy to help support you on this noble mission for truth. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yes, it's, for those who don't know, I did give, was it a month? It's been a month now. And a month ago, I went into business for myself, and this is a big part of that business. And it allows me to be here every day now and do a lot more content and keep working on building out the membership to be better. So yeah, you're welcome. And thank you for the support, brother. People like you are the reason I'm able to do it. Dante Joyner with the $20 super chat says, how many more undercover reps do you think there really is in the GOP? What do you think attributed to the cause that America and a trance to voting for our demise? The demo KKK rats. Wow, that is a loaded question, Dante. Let me say it this way. I think that the Republicans, it's Senate and House are different. I think the House at this point is probably 70 to 75% good. It's been mostly purged. It's they're reelected every 2 years, so it's easier to put in new people. They vote for almost everything Trump wants, so I trust them a lot more. So I'd say like 25% maybe still bad in the House of Representatives. The Senate's much worse. I think it's kind of the reverse in the Senate, where maybe 30% of them are good and about 70% of the Republicans on that in the Senate are bad. But we're clearing them out. Now, there's a difference between those who are bad and play ball and those who are bad and will be obstructionists. Like Lindsey Graham. We don't like Lindsey Graham. Nobody does. But he plays ball. He does everything Trump needs him to do. And so he gets to stay. And so some of them have just accepted their fate and gone all in. And so there is a difference there. As far as those who will betray us, that are still up there, I think that number is getting smaller and smaller. And it's one of the reasons they're panicking. Whereas on the Democrats, they're just getting more and more hunkered in. And for your second question, what do I think attributed the cause to have America in a trance to voting for our demise? Well, I think, there's probably several factors, but one of those factors is that we only had so much access to information for so long. It was completely controlled. For the longest time, we had 3 channels, then cable came along, but it was still all owned by them. So it was very hard to get information. The right information. It was hard to go deep diving. You actually had to show up. You had to do real interviews. You had to go looking through actual physical receipts if you really wanted to learn truth. And that's very time consuming and difficult. And most average people are never going to do it. And most reporters are going to be stopped from doing it. So we didn't get good information. They were able to hide a lot easier before the internet, and especially before social media got taken over by even in recent years by Elon, and who allowed stuff out there. So we didn't have information. And the other thing is I think a lot of people just, because there was a lack of information, just decided you know what, my vote doesn't matter, or I'd rather focus just on my life and I don't want to get involved in politics. We'll just leave it to the people who are interested. And it just turned out it was all the crazy people who are interested, most of all, the power hungry ones. So we stopped teaching. And so over time, it was just, we were the frogs in the boiling water. We stopped talking about politics and religion because those are offensive topics, they're like the most important topics, right? Family values, politics, and religion, like most important stuff. We stopped talking about it. We stopped having debates with each other. We stopped pushing our kids. Like, honestly, we should be telling our kids what to believe and what's right or wrong. And then they can figure out if we were wrong later. But, I'm all in favor of telling my kids no, you're wrong. Or communism is stupid and it'll never work. I'm not go figure it out, go research for yourself. No, I'm no, this is how it is, guys. And you'll find out later I'm right if you don't believe me now. Or you can just accept what I tell you and be ahead of the game. That's how I talk to my kids. And, so I answer their questions and stuff, and I'm not always that rough with them. But the point is that if something comes up and I'm nope, that's wrong, I just tell them. I don't play games. We didn't do that. We were taught we let our kids be raised by public school and taught that stuff. And what'd you learn today, honey? Oh, I learned that, it's okay to be a woman. But you're a boy. I know. I learned. Okay. Well, maybe we should talk about that later. Instead of just being they told you what? No, that's insane. We lost our outrage, and they did that on purpose. They got us drugged on technology and video games and pornography and all this crazy stuff. And they taught parents that we need to be more selfish and look out for you. And they taught women that it's better to be in the workforce than to be a mom. And it just, over time, it indoctrinated us. So we made all these stupid decisions. And it wasn't everybody, obviously, but it was enough people where they could start taking power more. But we're taking it back, and we're getting back to the way it should be in many, many ways. I see signs of health coming back in many places. DJ Fusion has an interesting theory. He says, theorize the Bidens are actually pro-Trump and helping take down the deep state. I think Biden made a deal with Trump before a second term. Hunter may be helping by keeping the Bidens. That is a very interesting theory. And I got to tell you, I completely disagree with you. However, I would love to be wrong on this. If it turns out the Bidens are on the right side of history, that would be amazing. I would laugh like crazy. I don't think that's true. I think they're completely beholden to the deep state. But It's an interesting theory, and I just I'd love to see it happen, but I don't think it's true. I just don't think that's true at all. I think they are as deep state as it gets. But you know, like if I'm proven wrong, I'd love to see it. Trish says it's not so much what the grifters are saying, it's what they're not saying. It's so revealing. I agree with you. Yeah. Say no to public education. I love that. Grit says, I heard they don't have to do what the parliamentarian rules. I believe you're right. I don't believe they have to abide by it. It's choice, but they choose to because of their rules. So, you know, there's always that stuff. Dumb. I do hope Thune fires her. I completely agree with you. Johnson says, thank you guys. Love the show. Thank you guys. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Lisa Doxy asked, do I think Pratt could demand a recount once signatures are verified? Looks like those were all for him. He could, if it's close enough. They probably have a rule about how close it's got to be. Most states have laws about when there's a recount, when not. But I will say, if the Supreme Court comes out and negates those mail-in ballots, then he would have a very strong case to get a recount. And that could be interesting. So we need to pray that comes out. John says the evildoers riding on the national faith defined post-World War II America, and a huge swath of the population would have never believed you suggesting someone in the government was bad. That might be true too, but I think that was mostly broken in the 70s with like Nixon and everything, and the Vietnam War, but maybe not. Maybe not. All right. Well, I got one small thing I wanted to cover, guys. Okay. Actually, let me see if I want to do that today. No, you know what? I think I'm going to save it for next week because it's already going late today. But I'll just stay in the chat for now. All right, guys. Well, hey, I'm going to dedicate the last bit of time here. We'll just stay in the chat. Questions, comments, anything before I go? Let's see where SpaceX is at. SpaceX 167. Nice. Already got $30 on my one share. I'll take it. Joe wore a MAGA hat. Joe wore what? Yes, I get you on that. What I think happened with that, though, is if you want to make the argument that Biden wanted Kamala to lose, I would agree with you. I think he hated her. And so I think he was trolling them with that. But if you want to make the argument that the Bidens are somehow on the side of MAGA and like changing the country in the right direction, I can't get to that point. I can't get to that point. So. But I do think they were totally fine with Kamala losing. And what I think it was is that, you know, Biden always resented Obama because Obama didn't take him seriously and treated him like he just hated him. So he hated Obama, even though he's controlled by him, and he hated Kamala Harris. And so I think what they did is they just kind of civil warred against themselves. But I don't think they're good, if that makes sense. Yeah, Ryan, have a great weekend. Yeah, this should be a fun weekend. Listen, guys, I will have a members live. I'm going to be doing another part of my class. Started the eschatology class last week. I'm going to be starting again this week. I'll be doing part 2 and plan on another members live here soon. Leland says, I don't understand if SDNI Clayton guy was fighting Bondi and Cash for docs. How is he Trump aligned? I don't think that was him. I just think that was his district. I think it was FBI agents there that were fighting. I don't think it was him specifically. I don't think he was appointed yet. That happened before Trump got all these attorneys appointed. So let me see here. I'm making sure nothing crazy new news came out before we leave here. SpaceX is now worth more than Canada. That's hilarious. You see this? I don't know if that's true, but that's very funny. Anna Paulina Luna wants to void the impeachment of Trump in the first term. That'd be awesome. Anyways, well, guys, before you leave, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Please consider joining the channel and becoming a member. You can do so click the link in the description. That link gives you a free month to Patreon where you have access to the full membership for free to try it out and decide if you want to stay. There's no obligation to stay. If you want to leave in a month, you don't like it, go for it. But a free month, nobody gives you that. Tucker doesn't give you that. So try it out for a month and maybe stick around after. But the Discord's awesome. It's 24/7. Great people in there. And we get all kinds of conversations going on, lots of news shared, interesting stuff. And then, of course, the members' lives for members only, you'll have full access to. But if nothing else, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hype the channel if you don't mind. I would greatly appreciate that. Check my email for anything from Dogfish Brewery. I will. Thank you. You're welcome, Justin Mimo. Thank you for that. Anything else here before we go? I don't think so. All right, yeah. Trump's birthday on Sunday. Maybe we'll do some kind of fun live with some of the UFC stuff going on. Obviously, I don't want to get my channel in trouble, so I'll make sure it's nothing that can't be copyright trouble. But we'll see. It's going to be a fun weekend, and obviously a lot's going on this summer with July 4th, and expecting lots more declassifications and stuff. So, anyways, let's end in a prayer, and we'll call it for today. And I will plan on being back on Monday, except for members. You guys will see me again soon. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody in this chat, everybody watching, and just thank you for them, Lord. Bless every member who is a part of supporting this channel, and everybody who's donated and just keeps this channel going. I'm so grateful to them that I get to do this, and it's all because of them. So thank you for that, Lord. Bless them in Jesus' name. And Father, I pray a blessing over President Trump, that you protect him, give him wisdom, discernment, and courage in every impossible situation. I pray that this Iran situation would get solved here soon, that God, we continue to get amazing wins and amazing revelations and exposure, God, so that we can just keep moving forward. And I pray that everybody, God, trying to undermine this movement, trying to set back the clock and stop what this reclaiming of our country, God, I pray that they would all be exposed and stopped, and every weapon they try to use, God, will in turn be used against them to expose them and stop them, Lord. And so we pray for justice, peace, and prosperity to our country like never before. And Father, that each one of us can do our part to give a better country to our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. In the name of Jesus, amen. All right, love you guys. Thank you so much for everything, and just major blessings upon you, and I will see you guys all soon. Take care.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the